Order with two Councilmember Carrasco's on the screen.
A dream come true.
Dream, a girl can only wish. And I'm going to ask, I think it's Yasmin, to call roll, please.
Good morning. Jimenez? Cohen?
Here.
Esparza?
Here.
Carrasco?
Here.
Arenas?
Here.
Thank you.
Perfect. So let's move on to item number 1B. This is review of the work plan. Can I get a motion for, can we call these together, Karen, B1 and B2?
Sure, that's fine.
Wonderful. Can I get a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Wonderful. Oh, now I do. Gina, I believe you are going to help me with some of the public speakers, and I apologize, I did not see them. Would you let our public speakers in?
Sure, I can do that.
Kim, you are up. You can go ahead and begin your comments. This is relating to the review of work plan for the Police Athletic League status report, as well as the rent stabilization program strategic plan report.
Yes, this is Kim Guptill. I actually wanted to speak about the Welcoming San Jose. Is it okay to do that now?
You would have to wait until that item is up for discussion.
That's fine. I understood that it was first and I didn't see the agenda, so I'll just wait. Thank you.
Wonderful. Now we have Mr. Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Thank you. Good morning to everyone. I wanted to try to offer a few ideas about rent stabilization. And, you know, I heard that the eviction moratorium is coming up soon. And there's good work within the Office of Equity at this time of how to kind of like understand city government practices better. And, I'm really interested, I try to speak often about the ideas of this can be a time to really go over ideas of how we respect and need the ideas of federal funding and state funding, and just what those practices offer the community, and to offer a refresher course on that, and so we can become familiar with that subject matter. Thank you for all the work that you do with that. It doesn't convince the entire community, but it gets an important message out there. And for that message to be clear and understood, we're trying to help in this time. And if nothing else, try not to be hurting other people in this time, and look for ways that people don't have to be hurt. And I think I think this is all towards a goal of not doing this sort of thing again to each other, and not hurting each other with these large scale social planning ideas like COVID in the future. I hope that's the long-term goal. The short-term goal is how people don't get hurt, paying their rent. And there can be ways to do that. And it's just learning how to practice those ideas at this time, and, keeping up and learning to be knowledgeable about it, becoming knowledgeable about ways that can help each other. And we can get out of this situation. People don't have to be hurt. Thank you as city government and the work you do to make it an easier process and understood for all of us, how we don't have to be hurt at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. So we will return back to our agenda, and Yasmin, will you, we're ready to vote. Thank you.
Cohen,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Carrasco,
Aye.
Arenas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we're moving right along to the consent calendar where there is nothing there. So we'll move over to 1D, and this is reports to the committee. We're going to begin with item D1, which is Office of Immigrant Affairs Activities and Welcoming San Jose Plan 2021 to 2024 report.
Great. Thank you. Good morning, council members, colleagues, and members of the public. I'm Sulma Maciel. I'm the director of the Office of Racial Equity. I am pleased to present to you a report that highlights the work of the Immigrant Affairs team, and most importantly, the plan moving forward as is described in the Welcoming San Jose Plan 2.0. I'm also excited to introduce you to the new Immigrant Affairs Manager who joined our team just 3 weeks ago. Chris Cambises is, as you could view him as one of the panelists, brings more than a decade of experience partnering with refugee and immigrant communities across the US and around the world. And prior to joining the city, Chris served in various positions in the nonprofit and humanitarian relief field, specializing in refugee resettlement, immigration policy, forced migration and displacement, building welcoming communities, emergency management and preparedness, and philanthropy. He's worked in over a dozen countries in 4 continents, including service with the Red Cross in North Africa and Southern Europe. A proud immigrant, son of immigrants, and grandson of refugees, Chris speaks Spanish and Portuguese. So welcome, Chris, and I'm so excited to introduce you all to him. Next on the slides. So first, I'd like to thank Committee Madam Chair Arenas, Council Members Carrasco and Esparza for recommending that we add more context about the work that the Immigrant Affairs team did in response to COVID-19 this past year. So we've incorporated that piece into the memo, and I appreciate your encouragement to codify the efforts because it was a big workload. And so we've incorporated a lot of those details, and there's a couple of highlights or 2 slides that I have to highlight some of that work as well. So today I'm going to provide a look back.
I apologize for interrupting you, but I'm not sure that we're seeing a shared screen. or is it maybe just me? Is everybody else seeing the slides and not me?
Oh, my goodness. I'm so
Okay,
sorry.
here's
I
the
assumed-
thing, she doesn't see the slide either.
I can't see the slides.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My apologies. I thought Gina was going to share the slides.
No, no problem.
Gina, can you pull up the slides?
Sure, I'll do that right now.
Wonderful. I'd hate to miss a slideshow that you prepared. And by the way, Chris, welcome.
Thank you very much.
How exciting and how appropriate that we're talking about welcoming San Jose and we're also welcoming you.
Right. In fact, as we're waiting, Chair Dennis, perhaps Chris can maybe just say a few words of introduction to.
Yeah, let's put him on the spot. Yeah.
Chris, would you like to introduce yourself?
Certainly, absolutely. Thank you very much for Suma for the introduction. To council members, I'm delighted to be here and delighted to be able to not only have the opportunity to speak before you for the first time to discuss the Welcoming San Jose plan, but also to as a formal welcome for myself. So as Suma mentioned, I have an extensive background in working in immigrant affairs, refugee resettlement, building welcoming communities all over the country. And the slides are up now, so I'm happy to discuss in more detail further. But thank you for putting me on the spot.
Well done.
We love doing that. Committee knows that. You don't come to NSC not to be placed on the spot here. If we can actually, Gina, if you can make that a full screen, that would be wonderful.
Let's see.
Gina,
On slide
it's,
2.
yeah, Gina, it's still not a full screen, only on the slide.
Okay. Let me access the actual PowerPoint. Give me one second.
Actually, Gina, you could just increase it to like 100% there. And I think we can move right along just by, and you can start with slide 2. Yeah, you could just scroll up. Okay, yeah, that'll work. It's also in the included in the attachments, I believe. So
Yes, Sulma, but our audience may be
That's right.
relying on this one. So thank you. I appreciate it.
great. So let me move right along because I feel like now I've taken up too much time. But so on the second slide here, again, it's a look back, right? So this report basically is a look back at what the Immigrant Affairs team has done over the last couple of years. This report was supposed to be in front of you in March of 2020. But then, of course, the pandemic happened and all of this was deferred until this year. But the report essentially highlights some accomplishments. It describes the challenges as well as the opportunities. And it briefly describes the approach that we took to develop the Welcoming San Jose Plan 2.0. We will also later, and Chris will do this, we'll provide a high-level overview of the goals and the strategies in the new plan. So if you can scroll up to the next slide. Thank you. So some of you already know this, and those of you who were part of establishing the Office of Immigrant Affairs in 2015 specifically, Councilmember Carrasco was there from the beginning. But for those of you who don't know the history about this Office of Immigrant Affairs was established in 2015 to build a welcoming city for the nearly 40% of our city residents who were born in another country. And what we know is that many more San Jose residents have immigrant relatives and family members, with approximately 60% of children having at least one immigrant parent. We also know that more than half of the immigrants in San Jose metro area, which could be, sort of the border cities around San Jose, are naturalized citizens. And we also know that approximately 21% of immigrants are undocumented residents. So as such, the vision and the mission statements represent our aspirations. But I'd like to acknowledge that while we're working hard to create a city where immigrants feel a sense of belonging, we must not forget that Black, Indigenous, and Chicanos also desire to feel welcomed, and that immigrant justice and racial justice work is intertwined. I also want to emphasize that the role of Immigrant Affairs team is not to be a direct service provider, We have excellent community partners who deliver needed services every day. So our role is to convene, to educate, to advocate, to coordinate among city departments, collaborate across multiple jurisdictions, leverage resources, and be a bridge between the immigrant community and the city. On to the next slide 4. So in this section of the memo, you'll find lots of details about the progress that was made, in particular important collaborations with community partners as well as deliverables. So for example, we supported community partners in naturalization efforts through co-sponsoring citizenship workshops, which served almost 2,100 immigrant participants and resulted in 950 naturalization applications completed. Recently, the CET, which is a partner organization, Center for Employment Training, and the citizenship partners demonstrated that they could pivot to online citizenship application support. And so that just was launched this week. The registration started in the beginning of May. The direct legal support began on Monday, and I think the numbers are going to look really good. It shows that our community has pivoted, and part of that is that to online, and part of that is that there are multi-generations in family households, and the generations that are much more comfortable with digital access are supporting the adults in this journey. We also operationalized the city's first ever language access policy with city vendor contracts available to all city departments, and we provided a language access training for over 1,000 city staff. We coordinated with the legislative team to advocate for state and federal legislation to support the immigrant community through 15 support letters, as well as litigation opposing the rescission of DACA, adding a citizenship question to the census. And we also provided public comments on the public charge rule and the Florida settlement agreement, to name a few. We also co-hosted a skilled refugee and immigrant convening with the Refugee and Immigrant Forum, where there was a participation of several of 81 employers and 468 skilled refugees and immigrants, and basically 4 skilled refugee job fairs. But aside from all the work that we did to advance the first Welcoming San Jose plan, we also had to pivot, and we worked on the US Census, building the Rapid Response Network, supporting public charge rule awareness and trainings. Next, scrolling up to slide 5. So the challenges and opportunities, I don't know that I could need to spend too much time on the challenges, but we know that the federal administration, the previous administration in particular, created some very harmful and cruel immigration policies. And as a result, that also created opportunities for us. And that was to build the Rapid Response Network. We also knew that we needed to be heavily and deeply involved in the census count. We also recognize the importance of racial equity work becoming central in the discussions to advance immigrant-friendly policies. And due to the advocacy and the insistence by members of this council committee and the community, the city council voted to agree to establish the Office of Racial Equity. So all of these opportunities intersected during some very challenging times. And in this, as part of these opportunities, the Immigrant Affairs team also was deployed to the EOC. And while that was a lot of workload that we did not anticipate, it was an opportunity that resulted in improvements in language access and other areas of the way that we respond to emergencies. So on to the next slide. So I'll try to go briefly through when we pivoted to the COVID response. Most of us, well, all of us on the team, Stephanie, Jane, Sabrina Parra Garcia, Savi, and myself were deployed into the EOC. And so we launched the very first language access unit in the EOC. So we set up fast turnaround contracts with professional translation vendors for the daily flash reports that were happening. We had those professional translations began March of 2020, and they continue today. We also recruited and coordinated 32 bilingual staff for 4 languages from 10 departments citywide to serve on the language access unit for rapid bilingual review and multilingual materials. So there you see the data, 161 flash reports, in-language videos, multiple topics besides COVID-19, such as census and other pieces. We also created a glossary of 878 commonly used terms in Spanish, Vietnamese, and traditional and simplified Chinese for use by the EOC moving forward. And we also provided, a number of focus groups that would help center the way that we co-designed financial and rental relief. On the next slide, if you move up to slide 7, you'll see more of the efforts that we redirected towards COVID response and also delineated in the memo. So I really want to spend some time on welcoming San Jose plan, because that's really what the next step is here. And in the midst of the COVID response, so on the next slide, if we could go up to slide 8, in the midst of the COVID response, we did not lose sight on the important work in service of the immigrant community, such as taking positions on legislation, submitting public comments related to federal policy that impacted immigrants, promoting citizenship, the rapid response network. And just as important, it was important for our team to reconnect with community to refreshen the Welcoming San Jose plan that we had developed in the fall of 2019, and we're ready to present to you all, to the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee in 2020. So there was this time lapse where it was developed in the fall of 2019. We couldn't present the plan to you in 2020, but a lot changed in 2020. So we conducted, basically, we had to reconvene with our community partners and the community. And so we conducted a two-pronged approach to informing and developing the Welcoming San Jose plan. We also were audited by Welcoming America right before the pandemic, which is a national organization that provides technical assistance to local governments aiming to create a better environment for immigrants. And we also did community engagement. So on the next slide, you'll see just some highlights of what came out of the audit out of Welcoming America. And I don't want to spend too much time on there now because I've gone on too long, but you'll find some of the areas where we could do, for example, action items are listed there. Those are the ones that are recommended by Welcoming America. And we are now seeking ways to be able to actually address the areas that we can improve on. On the next slide, it speaks to the community engagement process. And as I mentioned, we started the work of developing the Welcoming San Jose plan in August of 2019. We had a visioning process. We then had broader community input. There was a prioritization of these strategies. Then there was a review and then a reflection and revision that happened. So you see a gap there because that was during the pandemic, but we really wanted to make sure that we brought in our community partners to make sure that the strategies that were developed in the fall of 2019 were still relevant. And we found that some of them were not, that there were different priorities because of the pandemic. So now I'm going to move on to the task at hand, the Welcoming San Jose plan. And so Chris is going to provide just highlights of the goals and the strategies. Some of them are similar to the first Welcoming San Jose plan that was approved by the City Council. And I think what you'll find here is that we're excited to get started. This plan essentially will begin officially if approved by the mayor and the City Council. We'll get started on the work on July 1st, but we do plan on having a convening with all of our partners to think through what are the specific objectives and those measurable results that we want to be able to see. And so the evaluation plan comes after the approval of the strategic plan. So Chris, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sulma. Good morning again, council members, city the public. Chris Cambises, Immigrant Affairs Manager for the Office of Racial Equity, and I'm delighted to be able to provide this high-level overview of the Welcoming San Jose plan and the various different components of it. So I think the first important thing to keep in mind about it is that it is both aspirational and actionable as well. It comprises 24 different strategies, and each of these strategies are spread across 4 core pillars. And you can see the pillars listed here: leadership and communications, access and engagement, education, economic opportunity, and safe communities. So these pillars and strategies represent a very crucial step forward towards building on the robust infrastructure that exists in the city to support immigrant welcoming and belonging as well. So these strategies, as Suma mentioned, will require very close collaboration with our many community partners who have been part of the formation of this plan, and as direct service providers will be the ones who very much advance it. We'll scroll to the next slide, please. So as I mentioned, I'll just provide very high-level overview of the individual strategies and the goals. So for each one of these core pillars, there's a goal associated with it. So with leadership and communication, our goal very much is to establish equitable systems and policies and practices throughout the city that create a welcoming and inclusive environment that allows immigrants, residents of color, and all people of San Jose to thrive. So a few examples of the different strategies that have been identified and developed for advancing this particular pillar is developing and building upon existing city and county communication mechanisms to ensure consistent and timely messaging and information dissemination to the immigrant community, and also development of a structure to discuss coordination of policy and procedures that impact immigrant communities. And as we have been doing, continuing to support legislation that protects immigrant rights, provides a pathway for citizenship, legal permanent residency, or protected status, including comprehensive immigration reform. Next slide, please. The second pillar is access and engagement, and the goal here is to improve immigrant access to city information and services, and to augment immigrant participation in civic life. So for example, this includes strategies such as amplifying partner organizations, naturalization and voter registration efforts, things that we've done in the past and we're looking to expand significantly moving forward, as well as DACA application efforts through public education and awareness campaigns, recognizing that we're very much at a time now where these policy changes will be coming very, very quickly, and we want to ensure that we provide that support. But it also includes things like addressing anti-Blackness in immigrant communities and fostering bridge building between communities, including indigenous populations as well. Next slide, please. The third pillar is education and economic opportunity. The goal here is very much to advance educational and economic opportunities among immigrants and refugees through job skills, training, strengthening career pathways, promotion of entrepreneurship, small business retention and growth, and financial literacy. Naturally, as we emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic, ensuring an equitable recovery for all of our communities, particularly immigrant communities in the city, is crucial. There are a number of different strategies for approaching this, but we're going to work with and partner with local employers, community colleges, and immigrant serving organizations to facilitate credentialing and certification processes, as well as accelerate apprenticeships and career pathways for foreign trained professionals, in addition to promoting immigrant entrepreneurship and supporting immigrant-owned small businesses. And scroll to the next slide, please. And the fourth pillar is safe communities. And the goal here is fostering trust and communication between law enforcement, local governments, immigrants, and the community at large. At the heart of this is continuing support for our community partners who are operating the Rapid Response Network, which is served to protect and defend community members that are at risk of deportation, as well as mobilizing, receiving community, and engaging leadership development to advocate for justice, as well as enhancing outreach and support for disaster preparedness and emergency responses that are linguistically and culturally responsive through coordination of community agencies, the city and the county's offices of emergency services and emergency management as well. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right.
Great.
Well, I'll hand it back over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. And then, and finally, I want to reiterate that this really was a collaborative process and that we can't do this work without the partners in the community who do this work every day. And who advise us and who we lean on, really, because they are trusted in the community and they provide excellent services. So thank you to all of our partners. I also want to thank Stephanie Jane and Sabrina Para Garcia, who, we're a small team, a small and mighty team, and they worked not only to help co-develop this Welcoming San Jose plan, but amidst everything else, respond to many of the challenges that came our way because of the previous administration or because of COVID. So thank you to our partners. And with that, I ask for your approval of the or acceptance of the report, the Welcoming San Jose plan, as we'd like to cross-reference this to the June 15th council meeting for approval. I know the memo says June 8th, but it's going to be the June 15th. So with that, I'm happy to take questions.
Great. So we're going to go to Mr. Beekman and for public comment.
Hi, thank you for this item. Blair Beekman here. I've been waiting for this item for quite a while now, ever since the days that Paul Soto was still attending meetings. I miss Paul. I wish he was around, and it seems like a nice time to say hi to him. I hope he can return to the public meeting process. For this item, yeah, thank you for describing how to prepare the immigrant community in time of emergency and the ideas of equity that can be used at this time. I've been going on and on about possible upcoming disasters, natural disasters in the Bay Area in the next few years. We can readjust ourselves to really ask questions of what can be equity for that at this time, and what can be ideas of reimagine, and what can be ideas of defund. That's interesting stuff. I mean, I think we were on a higher plane a few years ago, how to talk about these questions, but because of possible upcoming natural disasters, how can we adjust our thinking now, make natural disaster dialogue open to everyone and understandable, and from there, talk about questions of equity, talk about questions of reimagine and defund. That's what I've been trying to do the past few weeks. I'm not trying to be crazy. I'm trying to be how to adjust our conversation. And so thanks for your patience with that. I hope we can do that with the immigrant community at this time. And, it's really important to me that we work on the interpretation issues and how, to invite the community with different interpretations to the Zoom process develops just a good, peaceful, better community practices, I think, in the end. And we have to work on that and learn to accept that and get out of our previous framework and years of thinking of English only. Good luck how we do that at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. I'm going to go back to the committee and see if there's any hands.
This is Tony. We have two other public speakers.
Oh, I apologize. Last time I looked, it was just Mr. Beekman. Yes, you're absolutely right, Tony. Okay, go ahead, Kim.
Yes, my name is Kim Guptill and I live in District 6. And as a member of Showing Up for Racial Justice at Sacred Heart and a trained rapid responder, I'd like to express my full and enthusiastic support for the Welcoming San Jose plan. I know it's a product of deep engagement with all the communities of San Jose and reflects an insane amount of work by the tiny staff of the Office of Immigrant Affairs, now the Office of Racial Equity. I thank them for the dedication to immigrants and refugees, and I ask, encourage, and welcome your support of the plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Okay, go ahead, speaker with a number ending 2769.
Hi, good morning. This is Mimi Hernandez. I'm the Executive Director of Prosperity Lab. Prosperity Lab is a nonprofit organization. We develop and facilitate programs and initiatives that uplift and empower women, micro enterprises, and immigrant communities towards business growth, economic advancement, and economic mobility. We are here today in support of the Welcoming Plan, San Jose Plan. San Jose's innovative spirit is due in large part to the contribution of our immigrant communities. Immigrants are a growing population in our city, and their fate affects all of us. Investing in the Welcome San Jose plan is just plain good for our city. The immigrant business community that I work with holds great promise. They create jobs, they make investments, and contribute sales revenue to our economy, especially in East San Jose, Little Saigon, Calle Willow, and the pockets in South San Jose, amongst others. They create that multicultural sounds, colors, and flavors that really make San Jose a great city to live and work in. The Welcome San Jose plan advances education and economic opportunities for immigrants and refugees. It calls for promoting entrepreneurship. It helps to protect our small businesses, supports their growth, and provides financial literacy. These are all ingredients for prosperity. By approving the Welcoming San Jose plan, our city will allow the many partners to continue our work collaboratively across sectors and with the Office of Immigrant Affairs, and to deepen those partnerships. The proposed plan was very well thought out. It includes feedback from stakeholders, grassroots organizations, and CBOs. It employs a lot of reliant and well thought out methods that we know work. I thank this council for their time today, and I appeal to you to approve the Welcoming San Jose plan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mimi and Kim. We're going to go back to the committee, and let me see what my participants look like. Councilmember Carrasco.
Morning. Were you calling Carrasco or Cohen?
You know, one and the same.
Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate that we went back, that we pushed this out a little bit further to add more of the substantial work that was done, especially during a very difficult year. This past year, the pandemic, of course, posed a lot of challenges, and so I just have you know, and I'm really glad that it was included in this. Really, I just have a couple of I guess questions in terms of moving forward, I'm trying to look through it again. I'm looking at the attachment as well as the presentation. I'd like to be able to see greater involvement with the different council offices included in the work plan, given that, working with the different partners is fantastic. And these are the boots on the ground. These are the folks that are really doing a lot of the bulk of the work that we're hoping that they'll do as people are trying to navigate through very complicated systems, whether it's education, city bureaucracies, legal institutions, et cetera. We have all these wonderful allies and partners, but your council offices are going to also have their finger on the pulse of the community. And many times we hear of individuals who are in desperate need of services. Usually what we do is we connect them directly to Siren or Somos. We direct them to the Law Foundation. But this is, I think that this is an opportunity for the office to gain greater depth and knowledge of each district. Because as you mentioned, it's such a small team, you're not going to get out there to 10 different districts. So you need to rely a great deal on your council members who have an understanding of their neighborhoods. So I'd like to be able to see that. And I just wanted to get your feedback on what you thought of that before I go on to the next item.
Thank you, council member. Yeah, I mean, I think the more people that we have with that pulse of the community who are making us aware of either needs or shifting in need areas or priorities, I think that would be important. And so we'll think through how to make sure that there's regular engagement with the offices, whether it be a team member who participates in a quarterly briefing or monthly check-in. I've done that in the past, and I'd be happy to make the space for that.
Yeah, I like to see it actually memorialized in the plan. because I think that that is an important piece. And whether you continue to oversee it or if at some point something were to change, we want to make sure that it's embedded in there. And then the other thing is, I know uh, in the bigger scheme of things, this may not seem to be an important thing, although I think that it translates into other issues, and it translates in terms of how we do outreach, how we engage people, how we go into different communities and respect communities. We've talked about, or I've brought up the issue of the word Latinx, and I'm going to send you an article of those who of those who are Latino, who Latinx is supposed to represent. Uh, a very small percentage of the Latino, Hispanic, Chicano community has actually heard or understands the term Latinx. And of that percentage, only 3%, only 3% actually uses the term or identifies with the term. So could you explain to me why I keep seeing it in different reports? And I'm always going to come back to this office as well as the office on race and equity, because I think that this is one of those conversations that needs to be led by this office, because it is the way that the rest of the city is beginning to engage. And as I had mentioned it maybe 2 weeks ago at our 3.1 update, if we're trying to reach the immigrant community who's not getting vaccinated, we're using terminology on our flyers, on our social media, that people don't identify with. So if my mother were still alive and she were to look at that, she wouldn't think that you were speaking with her or to her or inviting her. So I just have a curiosity as to why this term keeps popping up when only 3% of the folks who have heard it are the ones that identify with it, which is very minute.
Yeah, thank you, Councilmember. Point well taken. I think, we have, as a city, we haven't set a standard for that language, Latina, Latino, Latinx, or, who knows what will come next. But what I can say is that for the instances where Latinx has been used, it's been used to be much more inclusive of people who do not identify as Latina or Latino, who are gender neutral, non-binary, and they feel excluded when it's gender specific, Latina and Latino. So that just seemed to be the most inclusive way of saying that. But thank you for raising that issue about the fact that there are certain communities, particularly monolingual communities that speak Spanish, that Latinx is not relevant. Yeah. So I think you're right. I think as an organization, we have to decide what are those terms that are most appropriate, not just for Latino, Latina, but Filipina, Filipino, Filipinx, there's a lot of other conversations happening around terminology. And you're right that I think we have to have a conversation about it with community and then maybe come to an agreement of what are the terms that we want to use moving forward.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And I appreciate the inclusivity, but as I had mentioned before, in using it, you're being exclusive now of the very people you're trying to address. And so that's the concern that I have, that it keeps popping up everywhere. I think that we need to figure out another way. But then I would challenge, if our point is to be inclusive of non-binary or others who identify with non-specific gender pronouns or non-specific gender identities, then everywhere we're gonna include in our vocabulary or in our literature where it says young men and women, we should also exclude that and just say young human beings. I'm trying to understand how we're just focusing on a term that I'm telling you, folks do not identify with it. And the ones that do, I have a clear respect for people who choose their identification, but those who can't voice it, those who come in from other countries, especially Latin America, who don't use the term Latinx, how is that a welcoming term when suddenly you've labeled them as Latinx? I find that to be, you know, it's difficult for me to, it really is getting more and more difficult for me to continue to support our literature memos, policies that include language that clearly does not represent the community that I was voted into. So I want to put that out there. And I do appreciate that you took out BIPOC, because it's not representative, again, of a community that I represent. But again, and this is also, you know, just as I was listening to Chris, welcome Chris, to the first meeting, but this is a delicate and sensitive matter. When we speak of indigenous communities, I have to remind everybody that the majority, even like say Mexico, which are the majority of the immigrants that are here in San Jose, when we talk about Latin America. So the majority of Mexico doesn't even consider themselves indigenous. They consider themselves mestizo. So when we deliberately take out or are forcing people to identify as indigenous or Latinx, where do we leave the other 90% of individuals who just don't identify as you know, as Latinx or indigenous? This again, I know it seems like a small thing, but given that the nature of this office and the Office on Race and Equity, I think that this is where this conversation and debate falls squarely in. How do we help individuals feel welcomed when now we're calling them indigenous and they don't identify? My mother didn't. You know, my mother was born blonde haired with green eyes, and she may have some indigenous blood in her, but she identified herself as Mexicana or mestiza. And that's the great majority. When we look at the research, that's the great majority of the individuals who are migrating. And then, or now we're telling them to check off the box and they're Latinx. So, you know, if I could get your feedback on that. And I see it, by the way, peppered throughout the memos here, including the attachment that was included in this agenda.
Councilmember, if I could also kind of just weigh in on this. You know, that's one of the challenges and opportunities that we have as we embark in this work. You know, there's, you know, we're also learning as we're going here. And one of the challenges is that with respect to this issue, for example, there's various perspectives that are right now, quite frankly, colliding, right? But you're absolutely right. This does fall in the work and the context of the Office of Race and Equity, and we're going to kind of work through this in conversation with community. The goal would be is not to kind of create a conversation that is going to kind of exclude or divide the community, but rather look for those shared opportunities so that we could, number one, you know, define language around this work, so that we could, most importantly, advance you know, this work in a meaningful way. And so yeah, I think your points are very well taken. This is a tough challenge, and it is a tough issue to really reconcile, but you know, we're definitely up to that, and we're going to continue to work through that, and you know, and learn as we go, right? You know, we may make some mistakes along the way, but we will learn as we go. But the goal is always going to be to advance the plight of the people that have been underserved for way too long, and that's what we're going to stay focused on.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. We have to look at the bigger picture and what's our target, what's our purpose, what's our vision. But you know, I'm gonna go back to this because this is just you know, it's a thorn in my side right now. I have to be quite honest with you, because my team has really been struggling, and we're knocking on doors trying to pull people out. We sometimes live in a bubble, and we think that the terminology that we use must be universal, or the terminology or the concepts that we're putting out there, everyone must identify with them. And it's not until, and this is why I think it's critical that you work with your council offices, because generalizing is not going to be the formula, in my opinion, to truly reach the populations that we're trying to reach. And when you look at what happened during the pandemic, and when you look at what happened during the census count, Councilmember Esparza and I had to dedicate our entire team for, I think it was 6 weeks. Councilmember Esparza is going to have to correct me on that. But we had to put people out there on the streets in order to do this work because for whatever reason, this is a community that needs a lot of we have to embrace it. They need hand holding. They need to be felt that they are welcomed into these conversations and that we're not, stuffy shirts dictating from City Hall from our ivory tower, which is, by the way, a criticism that I hear over and over and over on the east side of San Jose. They want to know that city government is accessible to them. So I'm going to ask the following question, because we can have a lot of debates and you're going to have very loud people. And then you're going to have the cancel culture, which says, if you don't include this, then that means you don't include me. And so you must not be supportive of me. And by the way, I'm not going to permit that also to creep in here, because we're very supportive of all of those who want to identify as they feel comfortable. But we also have to take into account the population that we're serving. So the other question I have is, when we use the word BIPOC and Latinx, are you using it based on data and research that says these are the terms and this is the direction that we're moving in, and these are the reasons why?
Yeah, I could answer that. Through the racial equity work, the Government Alliance on Race and Equity, it's been a standard term to reflect on race and not ethnicity. And so that is the standard across cities and counties. But you bring up some good points that maybe we need to reflect more on, locally, and also doing some education on the differences between race terms and ethnicity. So, we look forward to continuing those conversations. And I think having conversations with the community will be an important next step.
So the Hispanic community, Latino community falls, when you look at race, falls in the indigenous category?
People of color and indigenous, primarily Native Americans.
But when I'm checking off the census boxes, did it say people of color for me as a Latina, as a Mexicana?
No, you marked off the ethnicity section, probably with Latina.
But there was also a race category.
That's
so
right. It was black,
race.
white.
So what was under race?
I'm not sure what, you could mark off however you would identify in terms of race. So.
But what I'm asking, Sulma, is what's the category under race? Is it Latinx?
No,
that's ethnicity. Is it people of color? Because you just said it's people of
people
Latin.
of color. Yes,
So
that represents.
That would be under race.
People of color. In general terms, and I'm saying again, this is a standard by which the Government Alliance on Race and Equity is using these terms, and we've adopted them loosely just for consistency's sake. But it's not, it's not something that the entire organization's had a conversation about.
And again, because you just mentioned race and ethnicity are two different things. And so I'm going to go back to when you look at race, it's very limited under the census terminology, super limited. And so we had to choose, am I white, as part of the race, or am I indigenous? I can't remember what other one they had in there. I'm not Asian, I'm not Black. And so there was very little available to us. And so in terms of ethnicity, though, again, when I've looked at the research, and that's why I'm asking you to give me research that supports the term Latinx, not another organization that's using it. I want to know where the research is that's using that supports Latinx, that says, hey, the majority of the Hispanic Latino community, Spanish-speaking community, identifies as Latinx. This is the term that we should be using.
Yeah, council member, I don't feel like wait, am I on? Yeah, I don't feel that I have the level of research background to speak to all of these terms, but we'd be happy to pull up the research and try to uncover more about what these different terms mean.
Then I'm going to ask, please, until we can define that, please hold back from using it again. That's going to be my recommendation. Please hold back from using it and dividing the Latino community even further. I believe that this is a very divisive term. I believe that this is a term that is going to be very politically charged for a lot of different reasons. But if that's going to be the case and we want to be inclusive, then scratch out young men and women all across all of your memos. Don't include that. Human beings. Walking, breathing entities. Black, white, and breathing entities. I don't know. Use another term that's non-gender specific, but I'm assuming that we'll never use women and men again in our language. And if that's the way we go, well, that's the way we go. But I'm going to tell you again, unless you can show me the research that says this is the way that our Latino, Hispanic, Spanish-speaking, and immigrant community identifies and they feel welcomed, I'm going to ask you to refrain from using that. Again, because this is not a conversation or a debate that I want to continue having until we truly have a forum to have this conversation. But it should not be embedded. It should not be embedded in any of our professional work that goes out there and promoting a term that divides a community. I believe that this divides a community. I mean, we're having this conversation even right now. I'm sure that other Latino leaders are going to say, well, I'm using it, I'm okay with it, and I'm going to have a very different opinion on it. And so this is a very divisive term. And by the way, this was not a self-identified term. This was a term that was an academic, a scholarly term. Just like when we, in the 70s and in the 80s, when we were really, really fighting against the word Hispanic, why was the word Hispanic so controversial? Because it was not a self-identified term. The community didn't choose it. We as a whole didn't come up with it. It was imposed upon us by government officials to make things just easier, to be clumped together. And so we didn't like it and we didn't identify as that. And so I'm telling you right now, I didn't choose Latinx. My community didn't choose Latinx. The immigrant community didn't choose Latinx. It was a scholarly academic term that was conjugated in such a way, and it's being now imposed on a community, and I'm not going to continue to perpetrate that.
Councilmember Carrasco, can I jump in? I apologize if I'm interrupting your flow. I'm very supportive and understand your point of view. I think there's a distinction here between gender and ethnicity, and I agree that we're lumping all in one category. This is also pointing to the grammatically gender composition of the Spanish language or Filipino language or French language. There's a lot of languages that have gender base built into them. And so how do we address that? Do we do away with a whole language simply because it points to gender? And I doubt that we are going to stop speaking that way in Spanish. And so what I would like to do is ask if what we could do is, as part of that engagement process, I don't know that this was on, I think it's on page 7 of the community engagement process for welcoming San Jose Plan 2.0. I would like to see what the groups in that, the immigrant groups in the community did have to say about these labels. But I would like to draw the distinction between gender and ethnicity. And I agree that Latinx is clumping us all together. And so there's a lot of folks who are very proud of their gender, as I am, and I don't want to neutralize it, right? And so I think this is what you're hearing, Sulma, is that I don't have to point out to my mother to say, that she wouldn't agree with Latinx. I certainly don't identify as that, and so I would never use the term. I do appreciate that there's folks who have different gender identities, and I absolutely will honor that in my exchange and conversations with them. And so I think we're talking about two different things, and we are conflating that. So Latinx and gender, Latino or Latina and gender are being lumped together. So how about if it's appropriate, I would love to see what our community groups have to say about that. But I think what you're hearing, Councilmember Carrasco, who is representing almost all of the East Side, is that her community doesn't identify with this. And I think you're going to hear, I don't know about Councilmember Esparza or Councilmember Jimenez, but I certainly do agree with her. So I would like maybe if whoever makes the motion to include a further analysis on this term so that we can begin to differentiate between gender and ethnicity and not mix them all in one, because that is exactly what happened with that former label of Hispanic. Nobody really uses it. It is absolutely most offensive to most people. So anyways, I'd love to hear if we can have Councilmember Carrasco, would you agree with this and incorporate it into a motion? I would love to have a next step for this conversation.
Yeah, and I'm formulating a motion, but I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I'm going to let the other council members speak. I have a couple of other points, but I'll go ahead and wait on that.
Councilmember Carrasco, please. I apologize to interrupt you. I really wanted to contribute in maybe helping distinguish both of these things, and also having a follow-up action item on this, because I don't want it just to be cross-listed to our council colleague, our council meeting, and then rehash this whole conversation over again. Anyways, I appreciate your feedback and look forward to that motion. All right, so I'm going to move on with Councilmember Esparza, and Councilmember Carrasco, please let me know about those remaining items that you'd like to discuss.
Will do.
Thank you. I'm having a lot of technical issues. I've tried a couple of devices, and anyway, so I'll be really quick. And I wanted to mention a couple of things. One, I did want to echo Councilmember Carrasco's recommendation to coordinate with council offices, because whether it's census or COVID, frankly, our offices have been heavily involved in community outreach and coordination because we're on the ground. And I just would like to remind folks that our offices, we haven't been, locked away during the pandemic. We've been out in the community since March 2020. And so I wanted to highlight how important that is. We are out on the ground with our neighborhoods, with our communities, and yes, with our immigrant communities, because even though they may not, especially given the 4 years, the last 4 years, they may not trust government. They may not, trust federal government or even local government, but we have a personal relationship with our residents. I think Councilmember Carrasco has often talked about how, often, we're inside people's houses, having a little cafecito, meeting the family. That's a big part of our relationship with our constituents. And so we do have that personal relationship. And I think please use us because I think that's really important. And we often work with folks that don't belong. I mean, I'll speak for myself in District 7. A lot of my folks, some of them are part of other organizations, but I'll tell you the vast majority of residents, aren't connected to other groups. In fact, that's one of our biggest challenges is trying to encourage folks to get connected, and especially given COVID, they're feeling really isolated, and so we're out there knocking on doors. And I'll tell you, Councilmember Carrasco and I, and I've seen Councilmember Arenas' office, we've had community meetings. We've been outside during COVID because these relationships are so often in-person relationships that an email and often even a phone call isn't going to cover it. So again, please use us and recognize that, like so many things in life, there aren't a lot of shortcuts. And this building these relationships are very, very labor intensive, highly rewarding, high work, high reward. Secondly, I'll weigh in on the Latinx and thank God for stop using BIPOC. A lot of Latinos feel like they're being erased by that term. And given the large number of Latinos in San Jose, I think we should take their opinions into consideration. So thank you for not using that. I will say that the term Latinx is, folks in my district, I mean, a lot of my residents don't really use it, and we want to use self-identified terms if we're trying to build relationships with folks. And I also wanted to caution that that a lot of our the perspective of reports and outreach plans, I just want to be careful that we don't bring like a Caucasian perspective or an Anglo perspective to a lot of these reports, that we include the perspective of the residents that we serve. And very quickly, I did want to address two things in the report. One is addressing anti-Blackness in the immigrant community. And I would, frankly, I prefer to see anti-hate, because there's been a lot of hate and a lot of discrimination in these past few years, and there's plenty of that to go around, I'll tell you right now. And we've seen it. Speaking as one of the council members, there are several of us here on this committee who have had to fight to have Latinos get served during COVID, and have had to fight for a lot of our residents, because within our Asian community, we have a lot of diversity, and a lot of folks get left out. And so, and there's plenty of discrimination and hate to go around, and we really need to focus on that culture of sitting down and talking to folks and relating to each other as human beings. And so I wanted to address that. There's another thing that I wanted to address in that report on reimagining communities. And I'll tell you, District 5 and District 7, unfortunately, have had our share of violence, both pre-pandemic, but violence has really escalated during the pandemic. And violence across the board, whether it's domestic violence or anything else, but gang violence in particular has increased during the pandemic. Unfortunately, there was a shooting in my district on Mother's Day, and somebody was shot and killed at a barbecue, minding his own business, celebrating a barbecue, on Mother's Day, and he was shot and killed, and it was heartbreaking. And so we had a community meeting, and I'll tell you, this neighborhood was Rock Springs, high immigrant community. It's about 50% Latino and about 50% Asian. Of that Asian, most of that is Vietnamese. We had a big turnout Monday night at a community meeting to really talk about this crisis incident. And excuse me, and we had a lot of immigrants in that meeting as well. And I'll tell you, one of the things that they all wanted was more police, and they actually asked for cameras. And so, and they want and deserve all resources. But the 20-year-olds who were standing next to their friend and watched him get shot and killed stood before the police captain and asked for more police and said, "Why don't you come into our neighborhood more?" Right? And so I want to also be mindful of bias in the report that we write, that we talk about all the resources, that we don't bring our own biases into that report, and we really let the residents speak for themselves, as they did so eloquently Monday night in District 7. So that's something I wanted to address, because frankly, the neighborhoods, they deserve all the things. They deserve everything. So I just wanted to point that out before my device goes out. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Esparza, and thank you for really supporting our community. It's heartbreaking when some of these very tragic incidents happen, and it really impacts all of us as we are closer than ever because of shelter in place. And even though some of the restrictions have been loosened up, we're still kind of in place. We're not quite moving just yet. And so we're all witnessing each other's difficulties. I also wanted to share, and you reminded me that I had this mom who called me on Mother's Day weekend looking for her son who had been stabbed. And and in that conversation, I learned, she was a former, she's a survivor of domestic violence. She's a widow. She's had to deal with gangs in her neighborhood and addiction. And there's just so much that our community has to deal with. And many of these things are symptoms of not being able to settle into our community and have a roof over their heads, or have a job that can pay for what their children need, or really the racial discrimination that continues to happen against Latinos and people of color, that we can't continue to overlook. And so part of what I'm going to give in terms of feedback is, I'd like for us, and I hope that this could be integrated into the motion, that when there's community input and feedback, that there be at least one community meeting in each of our districts, especially in those districts that have a higher percentage of people of color. And during the pandemic, we know these are the hardest hit communities, because I mean, I love that the community agencies are providing that feedback, but sometimes we want to just hear it straight from them in their voice and in their perspective. And one of the things, as I was looking at the report, was I was trying to match up the areas of growth in the audit that was completed, and the responses that were given in terms of that audit. And I would like to see a further breakdown of the plan in response to what that feedback was already. It looks like all of the feedback has already been received, but I would even venture to say, put a pause on that, continue to add feedback with some of the groups that the council districts have. I don't know if they're one and the same, but I think there's value in what we have been learning about our community, especially in this last year. They have shared their woes with us. We have been out there. I know Councilmember Carrasco and Councilmember Esparza know their community very well and have been out there. And so I would love to to make sure that those voices in those particular groups are incorporated outside of the ones that are participating or are part of the Office of Immigrant Affairs. And so one of the areas in area growth B, which is civic engagement, particularly leadership development, one of the concerns that the groups provided was that there's currently a gap in leadership for the Asian Pacific Islander community. And so I'd like to see a specific strategy that addresses that. And then the third area is that interviewees expressed a concern about the time that they needed to, I guess that in which they needed to participate and give feedback during council meetings. And so I would suggest for us to, and maybe for when we come to rules, or when it comes to rules, or when it comes to any of your items come to council, that we ask for time specific. And I'm part of the rules committee, so I will make sure that I keep that in mind. But if we just want to have a kind of an easy solve for that, is that we ask for time specific and we honor that community, and you tell me what those times are, and we can talk about what those are offline. I'd also like to see in the area of growth D, a very specific racial equity plan for each of the departments. And if I realize this is a lot, and you may not have that, but I'd like to see what the status is on those. And I'd like to have council also, or at least this particular committee, have some feedback on those as well. And lastly, I wanted to ask about the area E, which is the goal setting, monitoring, and impact. And currently feedback program relies heavily on relationships between OIA staff and community leaders. Formal systems to assess impact should be put in place. And I'd like to learn more about what that looks like. And so what I guess we can begin with my last comment, which is that what would that look like? What is that formal system?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So the formal system is basically having a formal evaluation plan. So we've enlisted an evaluation consultant who will be working with the team and then with community partners to craft the specific measurable pieces for each of these strategies. So how do we actually carry out each of the strategies? Who's responsible, by when, and what ultimately do we want to see? And so that's what we mean by formal evaluation plan.
And that formal evaluation plan, is that once a year, at the end of the year? How does that work?
Yeah, so first we have to craft what it is that we want to measure. And then we will work with our partners to have agreements on what will be reported. Because again, we don't have a grant making mechanism. So we rely on our partners to be able to report back specific pieces of data or qualified or narratives on the work that's happening. And so we need to get agreement up front on what it is that we'll be collecting, so that next fall when we return to the Neighborhood Services and Education Committee, we have sort of year one results, right? Based on these strategies, this evaluation plan is basically will help us determine what is it that we're collecting and to what end. And so you'll see that next fall after the first fiscal year.
Great. So I would like to see what that goal setting would look like. I'd like to see how that evaluation would then respond to that goal setting. And like I said, I would like to make sure that the groups that we are working with that are immigrant-based groups, I'm not going to say all of my groups in my district are immigrant-based, but I guess there could be. And there's different immigrant populations in my district than there are of my colleagues. So we have a large Indian community. We have a significant Filipino community. And and of course Vietnamese, but the largest in the city is Latino. And so that's what I'm going to look for, is to make sure that the groups that are living here are equally represented in the way that, one, in the strategies that we address these groups, and two, in the level of partnership. So it's not going to be enough for me to see one group that is Latino, but I like to see Latinos who are living in District 7, in District 8, in District 5, who are immigrants or children of immigrants. And so we can see what that looks like. And then I like to see how the work, because I think there's a really good opportunity here for the Office of Immigrant Affairs to connect with the Office of Race and Equity, because this could be the arm for the Office of Race and Equity to do a lot of work around our plan whenever that plan is unfolded. There's I think we missed an opportunity to bring in those immigrant groups to give us in real time feedback about how are we doing in this pandemic, and what did they need from us as policymakers. Of course, we were proactively looking out for that feedback in our own respective districts, but I think it makes the work so much easier when it's strategic, when we find a way to pull people in when things are very difficult. And we always know that during hard times, whether it's a pandemic or an economic crisis, that the immigrant groups in those cities are always going to be impacted first. Their businesses are being impacted right now, not necessarily by the pandemic, and also by other economic factors, such as the flea market right now, that land is up in question and people are opposing the transformation of that land. And that is an item that I believe this office could really advocate and bring groups together. I have folk that, because once that, if that closes, that means that there is a tremendous group of immigrants that are going to be displaced, small businesses that are going to be displaced. That means their livelihood is in jeopardy. And we know what that cycle is thereafter. And so part of this is working with Office of Economic Development, the Office of Immigrant Affairs, and Race and Equity. There is, I think, a natural conversation that needs to take place in order for that to continue to happen. And so I'd like to see the Office of Immigrant Affairs, the Office of Race and Equity, the work strategically aligned, and the partnership with the council offices to be more significant, so that we are all on the same page, that you can also utilize the council offices as a way to obtain information about the status of our immigrants, to also utilize our existing groups, so that you can gain greater insights or participation in your feedback loops. Any of those things, I just think that there is a piece missing here. And lastly, I'm just going to mention really quickly about the Latinx. And Latinx is a term that is not my biggest issue, for sure. It is an issue that is part of the immigrant group that I belong to, which is the Mexican immigrant group. It's the largest immigrant group here in San Jose. And so I would like that to be honored. And I think what you're hearing from Councilmember Carrasco and Councilmember Esparza is this is a way to honor that group. This is certainly not my biggest issue. One of the items that I work on is sexual assault, because it impacts people of color, and that's children, female children of color, which is something also an area that I think Office of Immigrant Affairs should work with us in supporting that community. So when there is an issue that is impacting a community, an immigrant community in our city, then I think that's where the partnership needs to happen. And I've been saying this is not my first time identifying this group. This is third year in a row. I've been shouting it from the rooftops because that's part of creating awareness and making sure that we have the support that we need for those children. And most of those children are children of immigrants. And so how do we support that community? I could keep going. So there's nothing simple about categories and labels. It elicits a lot and evokes a lot of different feelings. And so I think what we need to do is make sure that we honor our language with one another. I'm proud of my gender and want to continue to be referred to as a woman and as a Latina. And I absolutely respect other folks who want to have a more gender or a non-binary approach and identification in their person. Absolutely, I want to make sure that I respect that, and we as a city respect that. But what we need to do right now is untangle ethnicity from gender identity, so that we can continue to honor the immigrant group that is here, which is largely Latino. And if I could please have that incorporated into the motion that I think Councilmember Carrasco is working on. Okay, those are my comments, and I'm going to move over to Councilmember Carrasco.
Thank you. So I'm going to try and make a motion. I was writing notes down as you were speaking, Councilmember Arenas, Chair Arenas, and I think some of the suggestions that you made were excellent points, as well as the ones that Councilmember Esparza made regarding the anti-Black versus anti-hate or anti-violence. I think that that's a great point as well. I'm hoping that Angel or Zulma or anyone else were writing all of these suggestions down, because I was only able to get some of them. And if not, we're just going to have to look back on the video to get all of the details. I do want to echo something that I think is really important, because, you know, I want to be very clear on something. When I address the issues of terminology such as BIPOC or Latinx, I want to be clear on one thing. One is I want to make sure that in our attempt to be inclusive, we're not being exclusive. That's the biggest issue for me when I'm talking about terminology. And as Councilmember Arenas mentioned, it's about honoring also the rest of the community. This is what we're all hoping to do. This is your agenda as well as our agenda, is to be respectful and be inclusive. And so I'm bringing it up as a point of reference that not everybody identifies with the terminology that's becoming the I don't want to say not trendy, but the acceptable term among certain groups. And sometimes, again, I want to just reiterate that the groups that are not vocal or they're not at the table are the very people we're trying to bring in. And so, I hope that the irony doesn't get lost here, that we're trying to welcome and all I could think of is being at the airport with a big welcoming sign to the Latinx immigrants, and they wouldn't know what we were talking about necessarily. So I want us to think of, La Doña, who's coming in from a little village or little town in Michoacan, who barely got third grade education literacy, which is the case for a lot of our immigrants. And the first thing they say is "Bienvenidos, Comunidad Latinx." It doesn't resonate. It's not a welcoming sign to see. but anyway, so I also want to just really be very clear that as we're going out and having these conversations with the community, language means everything. How we use it, when we use it, who we address it to. And I just saw a thread on Facebook how divisive this is. They're challenging, this committee regarding the challenge of the word Latinx, as if that's the only thing that we concentrate on. We focus on a lot of other things, as you know, especially during this pandemic. Our focus was keeping people alive and making sure that they didn't slip through the cracks, that they got tested, that they got rental assistance, that they were part of, that they understood their rights as the rental moratoriums came in, and they were well equipped to defend themselves against maybe landlords who weren't very, who weren't great players with us. But now that we're in the vaccination mode, this has come up, at least for me in our district, in District 5, has become more of an issue because we need to figure out how do we pull people out of their homes to save their lives. So it's not just about a term, and it's not just about something that we can sweep under the rug. It's about how do we include people? How do we call them out? How do we make them understand that we are talking to them and we're not excluding them from the very thing that could potentially save their lives, or could potentially keep them in their homes, or could potentially keep a roof over their children's heads. So Latinx is not just about challenging the research behind it and making sure that people are included. It's about saving lives, in my opinion. So I'm going to try and make a motion. And a couple of things, and the motion is to accept the report, but also to include the items that Councilmember Esparza and Councilmember Arenas had indicated. And this is again around anti-Black, using the anti-Black versus anti-hate or anti-violence terminology. It is taking into account some of the issues that Councilmember Arenas, which I think were great items in terms of how we hold our other city departments accountable. There should be a matrix, and we should have measurables, and we should have an outcome. I think that's going to be a reflection on the kind of work that we're all doing in our offices and as a city. And so again, I hope that that you were taking down all these notes. The other piece I think is going to be really important is also coming back with a follow-up, one on research based on the outreach that we do as a city, engaging communities and different stakeholders to have a better understanding of the vocabulary. Until then, I would like to see that terminology is kept out of our books for now. I'm not saying that's forever, but for now, so that we can go ahead and be inclusive of the entire community. So I know that that's going to be a big lift, because we're all trying to figure out how do we include everybody, and how do we make sure that we don't disrespect the groups that we're trying to serve. The last thing for me is something that Councilmember Arenas pointed to. When we look at communities of color, there are some very specific issues that afflict our communities of color. And I've said it before, if we're not ready to truly take the bull by the horn and do something very different in communities like Poco Way or Foxdale, then we need to be ready to sign over disclosures to that single mom who's coming into a gang-infested community and letting her know these are the chances of your children surviving this community. These are the risks in terms of the furthering their education. And these are the opportunities that your kids will have to join a gang. We either have to embrace that and say, yes, we will take responsibility for that, or we have to do something entirely different. So I just bring that up in terms of reinforcing what Councilmember Arenas was saying, sexual assault. I'll add human trafficking. Many of our folks who are going to be coming in from other countries are victims of human and sex trafficking. That's why they're here. They're looking for refuge, and to see that in the plan, I think is imperative. I think that is a critical point that needs to be addressed, because welcoming San Jose, it's not just about it's all the great work that you're doing right now, Sunma, with all our partners, but it's also figuring out how do we get our folks the resources that they need, and how do we advocate or get onto these panels where we're now having discussions about human trafficking, sexual assault, child abuse in our communities, especially for children under the age of 8. Councilmember Arenas, and as far as I know this very well because we've been working on this, domestic violence or gender-based violence, women who are held as hostages because they don't have their papers, the so-called papers. They're being threatened by the very perpetrator that is inflicting these kinds of horrendous acts upon them and their children. They're now being held hostage in our own city, in their own homes, because they're afraid of being homeless, of not having ways to feed their children, or of being deported. And so being able to at least have resources that can indicate to these women where they can go, and also our LGBTQ community who's coming in from other countries, who know that if they stay in their country, it's a life or death situation based on gender identity and sexual orientation. So I know that's a heavy memo. Motion, but in essence, it's accepting the report. I'm going to try and summarize it. Accepting the report, adding those pieces of accountability that Councilmember Arenas included, holding back on the terminology until we have further research, changing anti-Black to anti-hate, and coming back with your feedback after doing some serious community engagement regarding the terminology and the inclusivity or exclusivity of these terms. So,
I'll second.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Yasmin, would you call our vote?
Jimenez,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Carrasco,
Aye.
Arenas.
Yes. And so I'm going to ask for permission to move an item around, and this has to do with the Youth Commission report. And one of the commissioners just connected with me asking if we could hear her item first, as they are going to get ready to go to school. So I apologize to the other presenters. I think I would love to hear from our youth commissioners, and I don't want to skip this item. So I'm going to move that up, and that is the Youth Commission report from Parks and Rec and Neighborhood Services, as well as our youth commissioners. And if you want to be as succinct as you can for this presentation, I completely get it. I know that you need to get to class. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for moving this item. It was, yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for your consideration. Do you guys have the slides to share, or should I share them?
Gina or Yasmin, do you have the slides that you can share on behalf of the commissioner?
Sure, I can share the slides, but it's not in PowerPoint, so I'll just have to scroll like I did with Sulma's presentation. Is that okay?
No problem.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, just give me 1 second here while I access it.
And I apologize, Gina and Yasmin, I didn't give either one of you a heads up on this. I just saw the message coming through, and so needed to respond quickly. While we wait for that presentation, I just want to thank our Youth Commission for the work that they've done so far in this year of service. They've had a wonderful symposium, which I was completely impressed with, seeing that we were sheltered in place. And they managed to bring in a lot of folks and just really good content. Okay, here we go.
Awesome. Okay, so I think these slides aren't updated. I'll just share my screen if that's fine with you guys. Sorry for the delay. 1 second. All right, can you guys see this? Awesome. So welcome everyone. First of all, again, thank you so much for moving our item up. You know, we had to get this school and it was taking a while, but your guys' discussions are very interesting, very intriguing. But again, thank you guys. So welcome to our annual Neighborhood Services and Education, or NSE report, that we give to the city board every year. And again, today's date is May 20, 2021, and this report will be presented by the District 1 Youth Commissioner, Riel, District 7 Commissioner, Richard, District 8 Commissioner, Paula, and the District 9 Commissioner, Avi, which is me.
So thank you, Avi. This year's our vision was uniting as an informed, connected, and engaged body of San Jose youth. Our mission is to equitably connect, serve, empower, and support San Jose youth of all backgrounds, and our core values are leadership, inclusion, awareness, empowerment, and equity. And now we move on to Commissioner Escobar.
Thank you, Commissioner Snyder. So just a background, we start off every year of the Youth Commission with our annual retreat. This typically occurs in the early month of August. And as you can see right here, we typically just plan out what we're going to do throughout the year, what our goals are. And then we do have a typical summer internship program. And of course, this year, the retreat was held virtually, and we were able to hear presentations from the interns virtually. And this really gave guidance as to what we really want to accomplish together. And I'll have Commissioner Ho speak more about it on the next slide.
So during this commission's retreat, which was held virtually, we were able to have some of our youth interns present us with youth issues at the retreat to help us assist our commission in identifying and sort of establishing a set of key strategic goals to help guide the commission's greater vision and mission throughout the year. And the following slide, which will be moved on by Commissioner Snyder.
So as Commissioner Ho mentioned, we talk about our strategic goals at our retreat, and we kind of figure out what it is we want to accomplish for the year. And so our first strategic goal was to foster greater youth involvement in municipal government and civic affairs. And we accomplished this with various events. We had our YAC training event. And for those of you who don't know, YAC stands for Youth Advisory Council, and each of the commissioners for their respective districts have a youth advisory council. We also had the police chief and San Jose Police Department perform town hall, the YAC Summit, which is for all of the different YACs, as I mentioned, for the different commissioners per district, the Youth Bill of Rights town hall, as well as the District 8 YAC Symposium. And now we move back to Commissioner Ho.
Our second strategic goal that we had was to help foster a safe and healthy space for youth in San Jose to grow. And the way that we accomplished this was holding town halls, which is basically a citywide youth public forum where we've discussed like youth related issues. One of them being a mental health town hall that we held in collaboration with the county's behavioral health department. Another thing that we were able to have, we're hosting the district YAC, which also stands for the Youth Advisory Council meetings, hosting a YAC Bay Area-wide social, hosting a roundtable discussion with interim police chief Dave Knopf, as well as having a countywide youth summit in collaboration with the Bill Within Center. And now I'll pass it on to Commissioner Singh.
So our third strategic goal this year was to provide equitable access and support to marginalized youth communities. And in order to fulfill this goal, we are writing policies in collaboration with the San Jose Digital Inclusion to address the digital divide. These policies are a little bigger, so they're taking much longer than we anticipated. So we were not able to present or like send in for review any policies this year, but they will be sent in next year. And the District 4 YAC, or Youth Advisory Council, hosted a food drive in collaboration with Martha's Kitchen. And I will pass this on to Commissioner, hold on, Escobar, I believe.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner Singh. Strategic goal number 4 is to promote resources and opportunities available to youth. So we complete a lot of outreach in terms of updating our youth Bill of Rights, which was recently discussed in City Council, and basically this ensures a bunch of opportunities and resources by the city to ensure that students and just youth in general have a lot of pathways and accessibility. And then we also publish several editions of the Youth Commission newsletter, which can be found on our Youth Commission website on the San Jose, as a part of the San Jose City website. We also contributed to the Recycle Right ad campaign and also invited youth to attend roundtable discussions with the acting police chief, city manager, and mayor. And now I'll pass it on to Commissioner Ho.
Our fifth and final strategic goal was to create and propose a policy recommendations to the City Council to help serve and benefit the youth and their interests. And a way that we accomplished this was sending multiple letters to the City Council and other city officials regarding subjects ranging from the San Jose Police Department reform to the new Office of Racial Equity. Another thing that we were able to accomplish was being able to send positive recommendations, and we sent in a lot of recommendations ranging from green architecture, biodegradable utensils, to community gardens, the CARE Act, to City Council. Another thing that we were able to accomplish was updating the San Jose Youth Bill of Rights, as well as submitting our annual Youth Commission budget recommendation. And now I'll pass it back to Commissioner Escobar.
Thank you, Commissioner Howe. So as you can see, you really talked about what we have accomplished, and now I'll be touching on what the next steps will be in terms of following up with our initiatives. So we'll continue to have youth being civically engaged, specifically in local government, by formulating recommendations and letters that address pressing issues within our community. We'll also continue to create events that foster these ideas, and also partner with local organizations, including community groups, city departments, nonprofits, and neighborhood associations. And we will work on additional initiatives to solve on issues that were really revealed during the pandemic, such as the digital divide. And finally, we'll be hosting our end of the year event in month of June, and this will just be a celebration to really recognize the accomplishments of both our youth commissioners and our youth advisory council members. And now, finally, I'll pass it back to Commissioner Singh.
Awesome. Thank you, Commissioner Escobar. So yeah, that was our report. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys again for the accommodation. Does anyone have any questions?
Thank you, commissioners. We are going to go to public comment first before we take questions from the committee. And I'm going to ask calling user _1 to go ahead with their comments.
I just hope everybody on the city council and who makes decisions makes good decisions for everybody, not just fringe groups, certain people. It seems as if regular taxpayers are never thanked, which I've never, ever, ever, ever heard city council, San Jose PD, San Jose Fire Department. No one ever thanks the taxpayer for all these wonderful things that are supposed to be paid for by, for the city employees to the residents. How is it being paid for? Through taxes. So once in a while, I'd like to hear a thank you, even if it's not genuine, because you guys need to hear that what taxpayers pay on our utility bills, phone bill, property tax, fees, fines, all these things. Money doesn't grow on trees. And I hate to have to sound like your parents, but it's true. You guys just think the money falls from the sky. It does not. And there's a reason why this city is in trouble. And the money that's coming from the federal government of $200 million isn't going to be enough. Can you imagine? Where does all the money go? That's the question I have for everybody today. Where does all the money go? And you know what? No one's been able to show me in writing where it all goes, like where the fines go, where the taxes go. I just hear general fund. It goes to the general fund. Well, you know what? That answer is not good enough for me anymore. You guys need to sharpen your pencil and start figuring out where you can save money versus spend.
Would you like to comment on the youth commission item?
I just did.
Okay, we need to keep our comments specific to the item that we just heard. Thank you. So I'm going to move on to Mr. Beekman.
Hi, thank you, Blair Beekman. To try to direct my words towards Youth Commission and Youth Commission ideas. I have the same problem that the previous speaker does, that I end up being called too abstract. I hope I can direct my questions to Youth Commission ideas. You know, I've been working on open public policy with surveillance and technology for a long time now. And I've heard a lot of promotion by the Youth Commission of the good of digital, of bridging the digital divide and digital inclusion ideas and its importance, which I do not doubt at all. And I want to be a part of that process. But I just wanted to remind themselves of the importance of open public policies with technology and what it really helps with and what it can really help develop in the future of our local community as a democracy, as ideas of sustainability, and as ideas of peace. And it's really interesting work that I think it's really important to learn how to creatively link and bridge, you know, open public policy with the future of digital divide issues and technology and 4 and 5G and Vision Zero and all the neighborhood safety questions, to creatively learn how to incorporate open public policy ideas, which is kind of the runt at this time. That takes effort. And I think the Youth Commission, to be young, there's more creative ideas to create openness to bridge and link these ideas together that I think are all really good ideas, but yet they're running in separate lanes kind of right now still in San Jose. They have to learn how to connect and really work together, because that, I feel, is our future. And that is what is sustainability. And it's much more than just government dumping in a ton of new 4 and 5G based on a pandemic. This is about real sustainability and democracy questions. I hope.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. I'm going back to our committee and seeing that there are no hands, I'm going to thank you for your work and your presentation. As well, under strategic goal number 4, I want to thank you once again and personally for your update to the San Jose Bill of Rights, Youth Bill of Rights. This is something that I know that will help our city align our strategies and our goals with the outcomes that we want to see in our youth, and keep all of us very much accountable. I want to also give you an update that I have asked for an audit to see how we are faring on that as a city. And I will continue to need your support in this area, and your championing different areas and policies is just absolutely important. I'd love to invite you to our council meetings, especially our budget meetings, and hear your perspective and hear your priorities. I know that you've submitted your own priority areas for the budget, and I've read them, and I want to thank you for submitting that. But your voices and your faces speak to us very differently than your documents. I mean, I love your documents. I love good memo. Like, you know, hats off to a good memo always. But I want to hear your voices as well. So I'd love to ask you to come into one of our council meetings or budget meetings, and we can talk about this offline, because typically you're the voice that's missing at our table. It would be wonderful to one day have you as an honorary council member so that you can vote on all of our issues, and I'd love to see how you would vote on those. But before I get in trouble with Karen about making them an honorary council member, I'm going to move on to Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to thank the members of the Youth Commission who came and took time out of their school day to be with us. I'm always impressed by the work they do, and I'm particularly proud of the District 4 Youth Advisory Commission or Committee who put on some great events in the past year, and I know they're doing great work in the committees in all the other districts. So I'll move to accept the report.
And I'll go ahead and second that. So lastly, I just want to mention, I know that oh gosh, the school board for Eastside Union High School District has kind of an honorary advisory board, youth board, and their members, one of their members then attends the ongoing school board meetings and actually votes, right? I don't know how legal that vote is, but it's integrated into the voice and taken into account. And so I would love for us to have a version of that for our youth commissioners, and so that you actually vote, and your votes, even if they were informal and honorary, I think would just lend great weight and representation of our youth in San Jose. And so hopefully we can explore something like that on an ongoing basis. We sometimes just want to hear the youth when we want to hear the youth, and I think your voices need to be heard all the time, regardless of the issue. So I want to lastly just thank all of you for your work, your leadership. I'm always really impressed with the way you carry yourselves, the way you carry out your work is absolutely professional. And so I'm really excited to see what you will complete in your near future. We're all here to support you, and special thanks to my commissioner, Paul Escobar. But to everybody else here, commissioners, honor all of your work. So thank you so much. And Yasmin, would you call our vote?
Jimenez,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Esparza, Carrasco,
Aye.
Arenas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Bye, guys. So I'm going to go return back to our regularly scheduled agenda and move into public life annual report. And Ed, I know you can do this. I know that you can jam out this presentation. We took a little longer in another item, so I apologize. I'm going to ask everybody if we could expedite some of the presentations without losing any content. Can we do this?
Awesome. We can, but I'm going to have to turn it over to Carrie Adams-Hapner.
And we're going to talk fast, and we're going to just wow you with great images, but read the memo for all the details, because we know you've got a lot of other things on the agenda to get to. So good morning, committee members. I'm Carrie Adams-Hapner. I'm the director of the Office of Cultural Affairs. It's a pleasure to see you, and I'm here with Andrea Flores Shelton, who's a deputy director in PRNS, and Ed Solis, the superintendent in PRNS. So we're here to give you an annual report on public life. So this is one of the city manager's enterprise priorities. It's around safe, vibrant, and inclusive neighborhoods and public life. And this is really about placemaking and engaging residents as stakeholders and instilling a sense of pride and ownership in public spaces. Next slide, please. So we're going to just give you some high level overview about what we've been doing recently. Obviously, COVID-19 has, added a twist to our public life efforts because of the shelter in place orders over the past, essentially 14 months. So our focus over the course of the pandemic has really been about focusing on public safety. And however, we have done some programming that I'm going to point to. But I just want to mention that because we're moving into a less restrictive tier, we are so excited to be reopening, and we've got a lot of great things planned. I also want to just acknowledge that this is an interdepartmental priority. So there, in addition to PRNS and our department, there are a library, housing, PBCE, PD, fire, transportation are all departments that support this enterprise priority that is actually led by Deputy City Manager Angel Rios. Next slide, please. Oh, excuse me, go back. I just want to mention that was the holding the moment slide that was at the airport. And we had asked and commissioned local artists to submit work that was reflective of this time. And so collectively, it's a very profound statement about things like social isolation and other issues that people have been experiencing. So that's why reopening public life is so incredibly important, so that we can start to rebuild a sense of community. Next slide. We've done some really excellent public art projects, actually 13 over the past year and a half. So these are just some selected highlights. This is at the Convention Center. Next slide. This is at the 3rd Street parking garage on Santa Clara Street. Beautiful, beautiful thing. Oh, this is our most recent. This is actually part of the Right the Blight. This is just one section of an underpass. It's by local artist Jesse Hernandez. Beautiful. And then as you all took action to make April Arts, Culture, and Creativity Month, we had a virtual festival in April. And we did this really all virtually, and that was really to help engage people in their own personal creative expression. Next slide. These are the different things that people participated in. There was a challenge every day with different themes like good vibes or the great outdoors or discovery. We had a mural Monday, for example. Next slide. And then last year, 2020, we had a virtual Make Music Day. And as you know, we do Make Music Day every year on June 21st. And it's a virtual celebration of music. And it is a citywide celebration where anybody can participate and anywhere can be a venue. So we encourage you to get the word out for different people in your districts to participate. One year we had a lot of action at Eastridge. There's just and people, made music in the mall. It was really great. So this is going to be a hybrid model. Much of it is going to be online, but there's some really great things planned, like maybe Opera San Jose will be doing a performance at the Winchester Mystery House. So there's going to be some great drama and fun on Make Music Days. I hope you can participate. Next slide. And then we are bringing back City Dance this year in 2021. It's going to be in partnership with the San Jose Museum of Art, and we're going to hold it on First Fridays because that's when they have they're open late. So it's going to be First Fridays in August, September, and October, and all the genres will be Latin genres because, frankly, that's when all the awesome dancers come out. So it's going to be a lot of fun and a great partnership. And next slide, please. And then, of course, we're really excited to share that we are bringing Sonic Runway back this fall. It looks like the installation is going to come in around October. And so it's coming right at the best time where we can, start having gatherings and people can get outside and enjoy this really spectacular work of art that realizes the speed of sound. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ed Solis. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. It's good to see everybody. Happy Thursday. Councilmember Arena said I'm just going to fly through this and take questions at the end. And so In addition to all the great things, our public art ways, we're bringing back our aquatic summer program, which is amazingly getting ramping up, ready to go. Our team has done a great job. I want to give a shout out to my small and mighty team led by Justin Iramora and our good partners over in parks. The pool maintenance staff has done a great job getting our pools into shape, doing some last minute fixes and getting those pools ready. So as you see, PRNS will be operating 4 pools and 2 will be run by the Ant Swim School, which is one of our vendors. We did start our registration for Summer Swim on the 8th. We're at about 50% capacity, and we are currently relaunching our efforts to hire more lifeguards in preparation for the rec swim part of that. And we're looking, as a target date, we're looking towards July the 8th to hopefully get our rec swim program going. Next slide, please. Of course, Viva Calles is coming back. We have a save the date of September the 19th. We are going to be opening 6 miles of city streets to everything but vehicles. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody come out. You know, every year we get about 100,000 folks that attend. And so taking into account public health guidelines, we will be adjusting the program as such. But hopefully by September, we will be in a much better position and we can enjoy our city streets, our parks, and our communities by foot, biking, running, any way you folks see fit to enjoy the city of San Jose. So we're really excited about Viva Calles coming back. Next slide, please. In addition, our Viva Parks neighborhood series. I want to thank all the council member offices who worked with us. It's not easy coordinating 56 activations throughout the city. With more possibly in the future, we'll be at 20 different parks throughout the city, and all 10 districts for the first time in the program history will be activated. You will be seeing a hard copy final schedule released very soon. And of course, with all of our placemaking efforts, we will be adjusting to city, county health standards and state health standards to make sure that we keep our activations not only fun, but safe and healthy for everyone. Next slide. In addition, we're bringing down our Viva Parks downtown activation, which is primarily held at Plaza de Cesar Chavez and St. James Park. We're bringing back the very popular wine and painting series. You can see there in the photo, and of course, all of our different offerings, including our yoga at sunrise and in the park. So with that, I will move on to the Q&A period of our presentation.
Great. And then we have a recommendation to accept the status update on the citywide activities outlined in the city manager's enterprise priority of safe, vibrant, and inclusive neighborhoods and public life. Thank you.
Thank you. I was playing music in my head that I typically hear at Viva Calles when I was listening and Make Music Day. We already submitted our memo, so I'm really excited and looking forward to that. We have just one community member, Mr. Beekman.
Hi, thank you, Blair Beekman here. Thanks for this item. It actually, I got happy with this item, so I figured I should talk on it during public comment time. Thank you for it. I'm interested, bicycle programs and trails and walking tours, and that could be an interesting future for ourselves, how to develop events for the city. So thank you for your artisan walk and Via Calle at the end of Viva Calle in the fall. And I guess a reminder that where we got ideas like Viva Calle from Guadalajara, Mexico, it could be a time to refer to them. Can someone mute themselves, please? Someone needs to mute themselves. Guadalajara, Mexico, they have a really wide marketplace, like a 4-day marketplace on their weekends, and the whole city would close down its streets to traffic, and it would just be a big marketplace fiesta, and it was really good stuff. And I wondered what they're going to be doing coming out of the pandemic. And to refer to Guadalajara, Mexico for ideas, can be important for ourselves. And maybe we can develop a new community spirit out of that. And good luck in how to. And so I thought I would just bring that up here now. And thanks for this item. Thanks for the ideas of fall. I'm hoping fall can be a good time for all of us as well. So thanks for the reminders, and thanks for this item.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Mr. Beekman. And seeing that there's no other hands, I'm going to go to my colleagues. Councilmember Sparza.
Thank you. And I know that was a lot of information covered, and I can't wait till we can get going on our murals. And I'd like to thank our public art team for doing some of this work during the pandemic. We were able to have some celebrations and see some of that important work continue during the pandemic, which was a real spirit lifter for our communities. I have some questions. So in terms of the aquatics summer program, I think I've said this in meetings. I'm not sure if I've said this publicly, but I think that this is such an important program, and this summer is so critical because there are so many. I think people are tired of being cooped up, and also there are, I have said that violence has been escalating, and especially in certain parts of the city, and having positive, family-friendly things to do, I think, is really critical to get us through this. I think our aquatics program is amazing, and I think really important. How could we help? I know that there have been challenges with the lifeguard hiring. I think most of us have shared the PRNS hiring posts on social media. What else could we do? I think there's been some interest in the Eastside High School District about partnering. I don't know what kind of outreach they can do with their kids at this point. How else could we support those activities? I know we're all competing to hire lifeguards.
Yes, that's a great question. I know Andrea is going to jump in there as well, but I would just say again, one of the things that we have talked about internally, council member, is we're just in unknown territory. Coming out of a pandemic, it was really a long discussion for months about where we're going to be, how the timing of this pandemic is going to roll out. Are we even going to have aquatics this summer? And so when we were in a position to kind of make that call, we were behind the 8 ball already. Again, not on anyone's fault. We were just dealing with the pandemic. And so we rushed, like I said, our team pivoted quickly from food distribution and necessities to taking on aquatics. And so, like I said, the job posting is back out there. Our team are beating the streets. We're meeting with Work to Future today to see if we can recruit some young folks from there. But in addition to what you're doing already, I think your support is amazing. And you're right, aquatics are part of everyone's summer experience, no matter where you come from. So I'll turn it over to Andrea.
Thank you. Andrea Flores-Shelton with PRNS. I just wanted to add that if your offices are contacted about the hiring process, please reach out to us. We know for young people, potentially our hiring website and application process can be challenging. We are here to move that along and streamline that. As a mother, trying to get a 16-year-old a job this summer, it takes some hand-holding. So we are here to help you and help folks. And I just want to double back on what Ed said. In our first hiring recruitment earlier this year, schools weren't open, right? So we couldn't do our traditional, walk the pool deck and recruit outreach activities, right? So that's why we're in an unusual place of reopening lifeguard hiring now and doing that recruitment. And yes, it is aggressive and it's direct. So it closes next Wednesday. So again, just another push to get folks to apply and let us know if folks need some hand holding in that process.
And who would be the point of contact at PRNS for that hand-holding and support and applying for our job?
She's gonna love this. Clarissa Garcia.
Okay.
We will get her contact information to you, but you can always come to Ed and I as well.
Okay, thank you. That's super helpful because I just think this is super important to be able to offer our families this summer. Thank you for that. And thank you to Clarissa. I have one more question on the Viva Park. You know, this pandemic has touched everyone. You know, no matter where you live, no matter what your income is or your background or your living situation, everybody's felt it one way or another. The biggest impacts have not, you know, been equal. You know, there are some neighborhoods all over the city that have been dealing with a lot related to the pandemic and seen increases in violence in neighborhoods, increases in gang recruitment, and I think, and people are just restless and fed up, and tempers are short because people want to get out, and I think we all want this to be over. So I do think that this summer is really important, and the park activations, the public life, you know, offering this activity in every council district is really critical. Thank you for doing that. I know it's a lift. My office is doing a lot of community events in addition to Viva Parks, and so because of that, because of just the need, and it's been really hard. And so I wanted to ask, like, how, so we have the activations planned, and you mentioned we're planning more. How are we making those decisions? Are we focusing on, you know, those neighborhoods that have had increases in violence? Are we making those connections so that we can offer kids and families those positive activities and activate our parks in doing so? How are we doing that?
That's a great question, council member. And so you may recall when we first began the Viva Park series, it was really to benefit those communities and those parks that were underutilized, some that were blighted, some that were gang infested, and police were, you know, high in need. And so, you know, some of our more affluent neighborhoods with better, you know, people are going to go to those. So we really wanted to come into these parks that needed some help and activate traditionally in 3, 5, and 7 council districts, 3, 5, and 7. But as we know, there are needs in the Hoffman Viamonte area all the way down to South San Jose. So what we do is we coordinate with the council offices. They have the best pulse of the community. We ask, what are some of the parks that we really, you know, you'd really like to see activated? And every year they kind of change, right? So sometimes parks get an uplift or they get a new field, and then we kind of change, you know, which path we're going in, which neighborhoods. This year, we were trying to align a little bit closer with the Project Hope communities and things of that nature. And so we really listen to the council members. And then once we have the schedule aligned, we do community input sessions in all of the different communities and parks that we're going to activate. We talk to them about what they can expect. We hand out schedules, and we get feedback from them to let us know if there are any hotspots or any red flag warnings. And so with a small team, I think we do a really good job of outreach, again, beginning with the council members and then vetting through. We also do partner with public safety where needed. We've had great support from San Jose PD at Plata Arroyo. A couple of years, we had some violence happening out there. And so they have a presence. We have some great skate nights out there. So we do our best to, again, identify the hotspots, the parks that are in need, and those are the ones that we activate.
Yeah, and so and I'm asking this because I did a BD last year, and so that's why my parks are being activated. But I'll give you some examples. There isn't a park in my one Project Hope area, but sort of next to that in an emerging hotspot area where we have had shootings. McLaughlin Park hasn't been activated. In fact, my office has had to, we've done Zumba, we've done baseball clinics. And so the need is greater than just what's in the BDs. And so So that's why I'm asking about how we're making those connections. And I know I'm not the only part of the city that has seen these sort of increases in violence, or there are communities like Rock Springs where we are going to do we're going to do activation. They're a little bit more geographically isolated and need a lot of support, and so I know I'm not the only part of the city that is dealing with this, and so I just wanted to make that connection. We have a lot of neighborhoods that are feeling a lot of pain right now and need this, right? We believe in Viva Parks. We believe in it and believe in that connection, and so I think we need to start making those connections more to not just blight, but the needs of the community surrounding it. And as we add more activations, and I would certainly welcome Viva Parks connecting with my office to ask me and ask my team, what are the communities in District 7 and in other, hopefully those conversations will be happening with other council members. What are those other areas that could use additional activations as we come online? I'd love to have those conversations. Thank you. That's it for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Councilmember. Councilmember Carrasco. And I just want to remind folks that we have 3 more items, and it is 11:25.
Okay, I'll make it really
and
short.
not specific to you, Councilmember Carrasco. I apologize.
Sure.
Just a general statement. I'm sorry.
Well, no, thank you. And I always love our activation and placemaking team. You guys do, you do such a fantastic job. When I came on council over 6 years ago, this was the new terminology, placemaking, and it's so exciting. It was exciting in terms of what we could offer our communities. It was exciting for the residents to suddenly have these kinds of wholesome, family-friendly activities happening right in their own backyard. But to reactivate downtown, to reactivate even our own plaza with I call it the sonic boom, because it made such a blast, made such a boom in the way that we saw art and interactive art. Carrie, I want to tell you that it was one of our we've loved everything that you've brought, but that one, we got to walk the runway and pretend that we were in high fashion and all. But I just love, I really do love what everybody's doing, and look forward to finally restoring a sense of, I don't want to say normalcy, but yes, but also a feeling of lightheartedness is what I'm hoping people start to feel as we're peeling off, the layers of COVID, including those 20 plus pounds that some of us have put on, but just being able to finally I see Ed, yes. I just to be able to interact with human beings outside of the Zoom platform. I've always said, and I know it's strange, but smelling people, having their scent around us, good or bad, right? But it's a very human, primal need, I think, that we have, in addition to feeling someone's warmth and being able to just just feel our sense of humanity again in such a very physical way. So I think that what we do this summer is going to be very important for our residents in terms of how we uplift them, how we uplift the community, how we give them that bit of hope, in addition to all the other things that we've been doing, the food distribution, the rental assistance, the different policies that need to be put in place. We can't forget about just the human aspect of having fun. And I think we forget about that, how important that is, because we're so immersed in all of the other life and death kinds of decisions that we're making right now. And so I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that Calle Viva Calle, I'm sorry, I always flip it, is coming back because we loved it. And as we were gaining more momentum, uh, the feedback that we were getting from the residents, it's an opportunity to come out as a community, um, and share and partake in one day. And our hope was, right, Ed and Angel, that this would eventually become a much more robust program, and it would be ongoing because we had so much feedback. And unfortunately, we're back to one a year or two a year, which is fine. It's a nice celebration, a nice way. I think it's a nice way to say, boo to you, COVID. We're still going to continue having fun and enjoying each other. But the other is Viva Parks. So for me, Viva Parks is, I almost see it as my baby as well, because I was one of the first council districts to bring it on when placemaking was kind of like, we didn't know if it was too fluffy or how people were going to react to it. But what we did is we connected it to health and well-being. We connected it to, in fact, the public health director at the county, in terms of how we believe that reactivating some of these parks, especially in hot zones. I said Tuesday, the East Side was one of the districts that had the highest rate of obesity, cholesterol, and possible heart conditions, and that was for children, not even adults. This was for addressing the ills of what children were facing in our modern day, which was the very first generation that was noted as not outliving their own parents, which was a tragic statistic to look at. And that's why Viva Park suddenly became, the opportunity that we had to pull people out of their homes, out of in front of the television, out of in front of the video games, and getting them out to do some healthy and robust activities. And with that, I wanted to ask just a follow-up question regarding what Councilmember Esparza said. One of the things that I'm concerned about is making sure that we stay true to the spirit and nature of the intent of the original Viva Parks. And everything evolves as it should, and I get it. But Viva Parks was specifically with the intent of creating healthier environments, in those environments where we saw we were being challenged due to violence, gang hotspots, crime, et cetera, et cetera. And in a time where we're all going to be, struggling for financial support, but I think more importantly, struggling for human capital. Who's going to activate it? Who's going to staff it? Who's going to be there? My team is always there at every single Viva Parks throughout the summer. But of course, we don't handle the actual fun activities like the zip lining or the hamster balls or the whatever it is that we're going to do this time around in order to stay safe. That's my son trying to make breakfast. And so I just want to make sure that we do stay true to the nature and the spirit of the intent of this program, so that we're not going up on budget day fighting for limited resources and fighting for limited staff. Because one of the things that I just saw was that on a 5-day schedule, downtown will be activated, which is wonderful. But East Side, whether it's that corner that I share with Councilmember Arenas and Councilmember Esparza, we have that trifecta there between 8, 7, and 5, to be able to have activation take place closer to home. We know our people don't go downtown. They don't know necessarily about all the salsa dancers, which I love, by the way, or all the other paint parties that are happening. I had to pay a paint party activation at Vegilution. I think it was right before COVID hit. We had to do a movie night at Children of the Rainbow Park, which was not included in the original Viva Park schedule. So I want to make sure that we have activation outside of just Viva Parks, but we have those fun paint nights where adults can go have a glass of water, sparkling water with a little something in it, but can enjoy that away from the kiddos maybe, and have just an adult party where the kiddos in these little remote neighborhoods that we know are very densely populated, like having a movie night at Poco Way, having a movie night in Foxdale, having some activation directly in these neighborhoods is critically important if we're going to stay true to the nature of the vision of these programs. So I wanted to just say that. And then in terms of the aquatics, does this include recreational besides the lessons?
Councilmember, yes, we're, like I said earlier, I'm sorry, we're working towards a recreation swim. So we have to hire more staff in anticipation for the reopening of recreational swim, which we believe will come. Like I said, we have it scheduled for, or targeted for July the 8th. But with the position closing next Wednesday, and then the training, we got to see how many of our young folks actually get the training is very difficult. So we just got to see how many get through, and how many can qualify as lifeguards or trainers or swim
Any way for us
instructors.
to share the lifeguards with the YMCA?
Lifeguards are really, they're hard to come by. They're golden, and so that's a difficult situation. And I think we're not as competitive with pay, council members. So it's an uphill battle for sure. But we're working towards getting our recreational swim program started right at the beginning of July.
Yeah, I know that. They are hard to come by because of the training and the safety issues. But I would reach out to our local Ys and see if their own lifeguards are interested in increasing their own personal capacity. They may just be working part-time. The Ys, because of safety issues and I don't know what other CDC type of guidelines we're going to be following, but maybe they're not up to full capacity, but they have a great swim lifeguard program that they that I think we need to tap into and see if their folks haven't gotten back to work, or they're not working full time, or they need just more hours, and maybe we can use them.
Absolutely, that's a great tip. We'll definitely follow up on that.
Okay, thank you so much.
And council member, if Carrasco, if I could just point out that in the proposed budget, there is, if council approves the proposed budget, there will be an opportunity to expand Viva Parks, the number of the activations, as well as a year-round approach to take advantage of our beautiful sunny days in San Jose. So yes, and we hear you about, and Councilmember Esparza, about the communities of concern, the neighborhoods, and how we take advantage of the additional activations to move into neighborhoods that may need, as you pointed out, just a little more joy as a part of our healing process through recovery.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I know council, the chair has a few other people to call on. The last comment I'm going to make is, the kind of activation that you're doing in downtown, I'm going to ask you, and we'll take it offline, but I want you to consider doing some of that on the east side of San Jose. I think Emma Prush Park serves as a great venue for these 3 districts where we have some huge concerns on how we get kiddos involved and families involved. And we're surrounded by those really tiny apartments, but to be able to have paint night, to be able to have salsa night, to be able to have a garage band amateur night, I don't know, anything that we can do. And then the last thing I'm going to say is, I really, I was hoping to do this on the year that COVID hit. We had already been talking about it, but to be able to close down part of Story Road between Highway 101 and the corner of King and Story, and be able to activate that block with live music and some fun activities and resources for our families. Again, it's a great location because we've got 3 council districts that are are right up against each other, and it includes the very communities that we're trying, the very neighborhoods, the very families that we're trying to target. So I'm going to
Hey,
put that
I'm
back on
still
the table.
in, Councilmember Carrasco.
Oh.
Let's do it.
Yes,
I'm
you guys
down.
know. You got another council member, and I know the chair is just itching to jump in here. But to close that down, help me out here. Paint nights, help me out here. Some salsa nights, some banda nights. Are you kidding me? Una quebradita. I know that's back from my day, but there you go, Ed.
Oh my gosh, Ed.
Councilmember Carrasco, if you could just maybe shoot us an email about where is that zone where those three districts connect, that would be great. But I want to let you know in the March budget message, there was funding set aside for Abierto. And so PRNS and I have been, Ed and Andrea and I have been talking about that. And that is going to go through PRNS, and they're going to, their plan is, you know, if this gets approved, that they would have some of their vendors be able to participate and provide that programming. And it would be, you know, citywide. But and Andrea, you can weigh in, but I want to let you know that one of the pre-qualified vendors is the School of Arts and Culture at MHP. So a lot of the great programs that you're thinking about, you know, I think that there's, you know, some potential opportunities there. So just want to make that.
And thank you so much, Carrie. I'm going to have to move us along because we do have 3 other items. But before we go, I do want to also point out that the OCA needs to make sure, Carrie, that the Music Day opportunities are really present for East Side residents as well, because it's coordinated with the Alfresco plan, and Alfresco plan seems to be more in the Well Glen area or in the
Uh-oh.
Did we just lose our chair?
I think so.
Yeah, I think we just lost our chair here.
Yeah.
I don't see her on the screen anymore. We may have lost her connection.
I think I'm the co-chair.
Yeah.
So
Chair.
So I'll continue. So I think you heard where Chair Arenas was oh, there she is, where she was leading to it I think speaks to what I was saying as well, is starting to shift some of those activities from downtown, from you know.
Thank you, Councilmember Carrasco. I don't know how, but I got kicked out of Zoom right when I was going to express my concerns about making sure that we have, and it is along the same lines of what you were saying, Councilmember Carrasco, is that we need to spread the wealth. Not everybody goes downtown. And another gem in my district is Lake Cunningham. And I know if you want to get a little get away from everything, you go to Lake Cunningham. It's very insulated, but it offers a really great space for a lot of activation that doesn't really happen. We do our fall family festival, but that's really just very limited. And we, you know, we have just really great features in that park. So I want to make sure that we spread the wealth, like I said, and that this goes further than the downtown, and it's not only connected to the Alfresco participants, or that we encourage more participants in the east side for Alfresco. So I'm going to move on and ask for a motion. I believe when I last saw, there were other council members had lowered their hands, so there isn't anybody else who's going to speak on this. Can I get a motion?
Move approval.
Second.
Wonderful. Can we get a vote?
Jimenez,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Esparza, Carrasco,
Aye.
Arenas.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And we are going to move right into, excuse me for a second. We were in public life. Now we're going to move into Neighborhoods Commission structure and process improvement status report. Neil, you are up.
Good afternoon, everyone. Neil Ruffino, Assistant Director of Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services. In respect for the time, I am going to cut this really short. I just have shared on the screen kind of the updates that we are presenting on the commission. I want to thank Olympia Williams and Vanessa Gambling from our staff who were able to get the commission up and going. I want to thank the city clerk for really working with us and getting commissioners seated in the last few months. And I want to thank our chair, Jim Carter, and Nicole Edris, a vice chair, who have really pushed us to get the commission going. Personally and professionally, I'm very excited about the energy that the commissioners are bringing forward. So I want to leave this up on the screen, and I would like just to invite Commissioner Carter to join us and say a few words about his experience here with the commission.
Yes, well, thank you. And I would like to echo what Neil said about us being encouraged by the commission back up and running again. It's been a while since we've had a quorum, and I would like to thank the city clerk for appointing new commissioners. We can operate now, and during last meeting, we were able to set up our work plan, which we're pretty excited about. And we're anxious to get to work and be a part of the neighborhoods again and listen to what the neighborhood associations have to say and convey those thoughts to the council members. So thank you.
And I just want to throw up the next slide in terms of some of the next updates that were happening. The work plan is being worked on. There will be a budget priority letter that the commission just approved at their last meeting. And to let this committee know that in the proposed budget, there is as part of the Beautify San Jose consolidation, there is some staff member that we would look to have that will dedicate support to this very important commission. And with that, we are open for any questions.
Thank you so much, Neil. I'm going to take a look and see if we have any public speakers. Mr. Beekman, we're going to shorten up public comment to 1 minute.
Hi, yeah, Blair here. Thank you. I was going to offer a quick public comment. It's a lot to learn how the budget works. It's been a big budget week the past week. My own interpretations have been off a bit. I'm very sorry about that. I hope my overall viewpoints and interpretations are still helpful and relevant, but I will be adjusting my interpretation how to look at budget questions in the future. So thank you for this item.
Thank you. We're going to go back to the committee and love to hear a motion.
I move to accept the report.
Second.
Great. Let's get a vote.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Carrasco,
Yes.
Arenas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So we're going to move into the summer program preview report. This is D4. And if you could, I apologize ahead of time, but I'd love to hear a very concise presentation, please.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hal Spangenberg, Interim Division Manager for the Department of Parks, Recreation, Neighborhood Services. I'm excited to have our teams here today to present on our summer programming plans. Try and keep this as short as possible. We have a few slides to get to and leave it open for some questions, but just wanted to say that the presentation was coordinated in partnership with the Office of Economic Development, Housing Department, Library, and PRNS. With that, I would like to introduce Nick Georgioff, who will start us off with slide 2. Next slide, please.
All right. So as we know, these are our goals for summer 2021. The COVID-19 pandemic resulted in some significant impacts to our youth throughout San Jose, missing out on in-person classes, school, and socialization experiences. So what we're trying to achieve this summer is focus on programs that are about enrichment, recreation, skill development, looking for programs that bolster skills needed for academic success, support their workforce development, and really aim to keep our youth safe, increase their civic engagement, and enhance their social and emotional growth. We're providing a hybrid approach to our programs with in-person options following safety and social distancing protocols, offering virtual options for those who are more comfortable participating remotely, and we are prioritizing our registration for our scholarship eligible families. Next slide. All right, so we are actually currently in the middle of training our RNS staff. We have 24 sessions all aligned to the California Quality Standards for Expanded Learning Program, with a
Still
big
waiting.
focus this year
I am
on
6 of 6.
research-based.
I think I got
We have
one
a
more
live
for me.
mic. Can you, somebody please mute yourself?
All right. All right, so as I said, we have 24 sessions that are all aligned to California Quality Standards for Expanded Learning Programs, with a big focus on SEL, bringing in some hands-on research-based SEL curriculum from Every Monday Matters, in addition to our typical trainings on COVID-19 health and safety protocols. At the conclusion of our training this Saturday, we will have reached 220 staff. Next slide. This summer, our model is practically identical to what we ran in summer 2020. Camp San Jose Strong has a full day model for youth aged 5 through 12 and a half day model, Camp San Jose Strong Junior, for those 3 to 5 years old. Will be offered at various community centers, libraries, and parks locations. Again, prioritizing registration for those families who currently participate in or qualify for the citywide scholarship program. There's additional scholarship opportunities this summer that can eliminate the price from up to 75% to 100%. So many of our families may be able to attend program completely for free if they qualify. And the only difference between this summer and last summer we ran our programs in 3-week sessions. Now we are able to run our programs in 1-week sessions. I'm now going to turn it over to Alicia Ramirez.
Thank you, Nick. Hello, my name is Alicia Ramirez. I am the interim leisure program supervisor. Today I'm updating you on our leisure program for this summer. So I want to start with reminding everybody what leisure programs are. Leisure programs are activities our community participates in their free time. For our department's summer season, we are offering 200 specialty camps and classes. 200 activities consist of in-person and virtual opportunities that are vendor-led. We have 12 vendors that are providing sports, dance, arts, and STEM options. They'll be at approved outdoor locations at our community centers, and we will also be offering specialty camps at our park locations, such as Almaden Lake, Lake Cunningham Action Sports Park, and Happy Hollow Park and Zoo. The program model will consist of 2 4-week sessions. Registration is currently open, and we also have scholarship opportunities that are up to 75% off for those who qualify. So Nick is going to talk to us about team programming.
All right, so we do have some specific programming aimed at our teens this summer. Sort of replicating the Camp San Jose Strong model, we're going to have some stable summer cohorts for teens at the Alma Youth Center, Alum Rock, Roosevelt, and Seven Trees. In addition, Seven Trees will be able to open some teen late night open gym sessions, in addition to having their recording arts studio available for youth 12 to 22. We are also working on finalizing an agreement with the County of Santa Clara Probation Department to help eliminate barriers for entry for our teens to enter our teen centers, our sports leagues, to plan pro-social family engagements and field trips. Next slide, please. All right, so our outreach efforts, we have opened up many of our community centers citywide on weekdays, weeknights, and weekends to help walk our families through the registration process and make sure they have all of their scholarship information up to date and ready to go. We have provided our information with a multilingual approach, English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. Sent our information out through multiple channels, through a UNCG partnership, through PRNS social media, flash reports, our Rock and Learn families, the School City Collaborative, and to our council offices. We recently started participating in vaccination events. So our participation at Rosemary led us to opening up a brand new summer pod out at Bascom due to high interest. And we're excited to be out at the Children of the Rainbow Park vaccination events and the Mayfair Community Center events later this month. Next slide, please. And then in terms of food insecurity, our PRNS Camp San Jose Strong programs are continuing to participate in the summer food service program. This is the most sites we have ever been at. We'll be at Bascom, Emma Prush, Mayfair, Roosevelt, Starboard, Seven Trees, and Welch, providing free lunch and snack to our participants in our camps there. And we anticipate serving at minimum 17,000 lunches and snacks to those participants. I'm now passing it on to Israel.
Before you move on, we have 7 minutes before 12, and we have another committee at 1:30. So it would be great if we could just have some really quick highlights. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I'll try to be brief. In regards to San Jose Works 7.0, we will provide subsidized employment opportunities to 400 youth during the 2021-2022 fiscal year. The first cohort will begin June 27th through August 7th, and that will encompass about 140 youth coming from youth intervention services. We will be placing youth at council offices, nonprofit organizations, community centers, library, also working in partnership with Work to Future. They may be able to provide opportunities at high growth sectors that they work with, their partners, virtual content creation through Teen HQ from the library. And they're also going to be providing opportunities for the Opportunity Youth Academy. And they're also providing mentors for this program. One of the highlights for this coming year is going to be the fact that we're integrating youth jobs to our Project Hope initiative. So many of the youth that will be assisting Project Hope will be coming out of those Project Hope neighborhoods, which then creates an opportunity for youth to actually engage their families and other youth into the work that we're actually doing in those communities. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Israel. And it's really good to hear that a lot of those intervention, the youth participating in intervention are going to have something for this summer. That is absolutely, I'm grateful and I'm excited. I'm going to go.
Thank you.
Sorry, go ahead, Israel. What were you going to say?
Lizzie Nolan will be doing the slide number 10. I'm sorry.
Oh, I apologize. I thought that was the end of that.
No.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Lizzie, as Israel said. I'm going to talk to you about some of the library programs. So this is the 7th year that the library is offering free summer meals. They have offered grab-and-go meals in 2020 in accordance with distance guidelines at 4 library locations and served over 5,000 meals. This year, summer lunches will be hosted at 7 library locations, including our newest site at West Valley. Next slide. Taking a look at our youngest learners. Staff has been utilizing data from the 2018 Santa Clara County School Readiness Assessment to guide program goals and implementation. This study found that only 44% of San Jose youth were fully ready. There were significant racial and ethnic and gender disparities in readiness in San Jose, with readiness levels significantly higher among girls across racial and ethnic groups and among white children relative to children of color. So when planning and implementing our program, the city staff used data to focus on the picture developmental goals above. Next slide, please. Many children in San Jose spend a significant portion of their time in family, friend, and neighbor care, and it's important that we recognize their contributions and support their work. We Connect is an opportunity for the library to meet the needs of these informal caregivers. Each week covers a new topic, as well as acknowledging and appreciating the role of caregivers and how they shape and influence the development and growth of the children in their care. In the winter of 2020, the San Jose Public Library launched the FFN Caregiver Support Network, which is comprised of 50 participants. Participants have access to a wide range of learning opportunities, including childhood development classes, health and safety training, self-care, wellness support, digital literacy workshops, and early learning activities. As the first cohort draws to a close, the library is excited to begin recruitment of the second cohort for another 50 FFN caregivers. The first cohort will continue to meet during the rest of the year. Next slide. our summer learning program. Summer learning is an 8-week-long literacy initiative for all ages that runs June 1st to July 31st and offers participants incentives for reading and learning. Summer learning fosters a love of reading. Doesn't matter what, how, or where students read. If they enjoy it, it counts. Students can read novels, nonfiction, comic books, or listen to audiobooks. Summer learning also engages readers of all ages by promoting early literacy skills for participants ages birth to 5 and challenging parents, caregivers, and adults in the community to model a love of reading. Participants can track their reading online with a web app or paper logs in 4 languages. And best of yet, all readers under 18 years old can pick out 2 free books at any library location. Next slide. The library is hosting the 13th annual graphic novel making contest. It's where amateur authors and illustrators in 4 age groups are encouraged to create their own 8-page comic book. A rubric will be used by a panel of library staff and comic industry experts to judge entries of overall story, originality, creativity, and illustrations. The award ceremony this year will be virtual. And now I'll pass it off to Samantha Kramer.
Good afternoon, council members. As Lizzie said, I'm Samantha. I'm going to really speed through my slides so we can get through this. We will be hosting a range of virtual programs for school-age learners, including all of the ones that you can see here on the slide. I did also just want to highlight that we are committed to ensuring that underserved students can attend all of these programs. And we've developed an outreach plan to make sure that we reach those students by working with our schools, community, and faith-based organizations in targeted neighborhoods. Next slide, please. Our SJ Aspires program is going to be piloting opportunities, including a summer pathway experience, which would allow for micro scholarships for completing certain activities. And our Teenage Q programs over the summer are going to be based on feedback that we received from over 1,000 high school and middle school students and focus primarily on social emotional health and also some work experience programs. Next slide. This is a snapshot looking ahead for fall 2021. We have many exciting programs on the horizon, including utilizing feedback from the School City Collaborative to inform SJ Access and expanded learning school supportive programs, a college and career readiness logic model, the Resiliency Core program, and the launch and implementation of the expanded learning quality standards at both PRNS and SJPL. Next slide. And thank you for your time. And we will now take any questions you may have.
Thanks so much, Samantha. I appreciate that. And we're going to go to the publics for public comment. And I don't see any hands unless something happened. Okay, so we're going to go straight to Councilmember Carrasco. And Councilmember Carrasco, it is 12:01, and we are due to a PISFIS committee in just a minute.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'll take some of these concerns offline, or not concerns, but just some feedback that I'd like to give to the team. One of the concerns, just right off the bat, that I want to have it recorded here is making sure that our kiddos who are coming in for job experience, that we put them in, or we make every effort possible to put them into those positions that they otherwise would not have been able to do so on their own. And I'll give you an example. It was a little disheartening when I saw the report come back. It was a year ago based on the previous year. There was a great number of our kiddos that were placed in fast food, DoorDash, and I think it was like Forever 21. And I don't knock those jobs. My very first job was Carl's Jr. I learned very early on that I needed to turn in that college application that was sitting on my desk. And so, and there's value to all these jobs. But the point is, if they can do that on their own, then they don't need us. Our job should be to serve as a vehicle to get them into those positions or into those offices that they would not have access to on their own. And so I'm hoping that will happen this year.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Esparza.
Thank you. I'll likewise be quick. One, I wanted to echo Councilmember Carrasco's remarks about the employment. I know that we talked about that at length at a previous NSE meeting. In particular, I think it's really important to have a pipeline into tech. I've said many times that we have children living in San Jose in the shadow of Silicon Valley, and yet they are not part of Silicon Valley. And so we need to create those pipeline positions and offer them those internships where they can get mentorship and future jobs. I wanted to ask about the summer feeding, the summer lunch program. I know PRNS does this. Most folks are unaware that summer is actually the biggest challenge when it comes to hunger in our community, because kids aren't in school. And so they're not getting those breakfast and lunches that they would normally be getting. Given COVID and everything that we've come out of, are we planning to do some outreach or offer, have sort of a little stash of meals or other things that we can offer to families who might wonder what those distributions are? I know that there's a lot of planning about food distributions, certainly within our nonprofit partners about the upcoming year, but we can expect parents and neighbors to come to the community centers looking for help. They might hear that, hey, there's some meals there, and not really understand what the lunch, what the summer lunch program is, and might go there looking for other resources. Are we planning for that?
Do we have an answer for Councilmember Esparza?
Thank you, Councilmember Esparza. We'll look into that and get back to you. I just know there's a difference between our closed enrolled program feeding versus the open ones. And I'm using air quotes because I've learned a lot about that over the last couple of years. The open programs that library runs, as well as just coordinating with our food and necessities EOC work to understand what's happening at schools versus our own program. So if you don't mind, I will get back to you on that.
Yeah, thanks. And if it takes, us who live and breathe this and knowing the difference in these programs, I'm sure that people who are just struggling to survive may not understand those differences. And I just want to be prepared in case folks do show up, even if it's a handout or an emergency meal kit or something that we might have to give out that information. I know that the food distribution numbers, or at least those in my district, are kind of moving around up and down a little bit, but I just, the need is still there. The numbers are, even though they've gone down slightly, and I'm talking like less than 10%, the numbers are much higher than they were pre-pandemic, certainly, and much higher than some folks might realize, those that aren't PRNS staff working on the food distribution. That's it for me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Councilmember Esparza. And I'm just going to quickly remind folks who presented around the workforce development is that I've asked in council meeting for staff to connect with Joe Harity, who's been doing a lot of work around youth workforce development, so that we can really address the needs of our youth, match them up with the programs that we actually have. I know that in the long run, we're working on a logic model that will build on the sequence of the types of programs that we have. But in the meantime, we need to make sure that we honor our youth and not match up our brown children with litter pickup. That even though a job is a job and it's honorable, we need to make sure that we have a step up and that we assess the needs of our children so that they can also walk through the doors of the buildings that they're picking up trash around and not be on the outs of that. So I had much more to say about that, but I will need to make sure that you all are connecting. I believe I gave a name of Joe Harity. So when this gets cross-listed, if it gets cross-listed to council, I will also be looking for those features. I want to make sure that we pave a path. I think Councilmember Esparza, Councilmember Carrasco already said it, a path that creates opportunities and not a quick, just a Band-Aid because many of our youth who are looking for employment are probably contributing to a greater household. So thank you for the report. I apologize for the speediness of it, but I appreciate your flexibility and your willingness to just go with the flow on this. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Wonderful.
Jimenez,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Esparza,
Yes.
Carrasco,
Yes.
Arenas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So the last item is assessment of fair housing, and it is unfair that it's the last one. But because we are out of time, Reagan, I'm hoping that maybe we can just step into questions versus having an overall presentation. I believe all our committee members have probably read the report. I'm looking at our community comments, and we have Mr. Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman. I'll try to keep it under a minute, real quick. I mentioned at the beginning of the items today, the importance of practicing, good practices with the eviction moratorium coming up. I hope all people, tenants, owners alike can be into ideas of the eviction moratorium at this time and how to help it along at this time. And, the ideas of mixed income, with the ideas of zoning issues at this time, and ELI and VLI. I hope you're just thinking of creative ideas how these practices can happen. I hope this relates to fair housing ideas and how you address the future of the flea market to invite vendors to the process of development of the flea market area, and for yourself to be a resource for that. I hope that can take place, and that to me is fair housing. I don't know if that quite fits under the model of it, but good luck in these ideas, and thank you for your time.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Beekman, for your understanding. I'm going to go back to our committee members and see if they have any questions. So seeing that there isn't any, I'm going to begin with first just appreciating the report. I'd also like to have some acknowledgement of the past. I think in order for us to move forward, we need to look at the past and acknowledge, and I know that you're very sensitive to that, Reagan. And specifically to the city of San Jose, I know that there has been some efforts here, of course, just like in any other city that have created segregation, like the racial zoning, the covenants, the deed restrictions. And I'd like for us to acknowledge those neighborhoods and acknowledge who they are and what they've gone through. And to recognize why people continue to live where they live currently. And I'd also like to have us integrate some of the information and some of the history that's in, with Professor Pitti and the Color of Law and Devil in Silicon Valley. There's some great examples like the San Jose Unified District versus Diaz court case, which was successful in 1985 and had substantial court findings on segregation in San Jose. They also found that the school district was at fault for continuing to segregate in San Jose Unified School District neighborhoods, and that they had a segregative intent. And so that also plays a part in our community. I want some of that to also get reflected, as well as making sure that we are not only just acknowledging that segregation, but addressing that segregation. I know that we have a lot of housing that's built in public transit corridors because of access to transportation, but that's also on the outskirts of a lot of neighborhoods, and maybe a lot of predominantly white neighborhoods, which would continue to perpetuate this segregation of communities. And I know that that's not the intent. The intent is to facilitate transportation and ease of that commute for our neighbors, especially those who don't own a car. But as we have seen, the trend here in the city is that normally those folks who can afford to buy a car are usually the ones on doing some of the light rail work. But anyways, I wanted to make sure that that gets integrated. Is there an opportunity for us to somewhere reflect that, Reagan?
Yeah, those are all really important comments, Chair. And I feel like the good news is this is not the only bite at this apple, the AFH. What we're bringing forward to you today is just the initial data and findings. We'll be back later to this committee with some specific recommendations that will address your third point, Chair, about what are we doing to actually address the segregation. And then I think we can also acknowledge and comment on your other points around acknowledging those specific neighborhoods and some of that other history around the San Jose Unified Court case.
Thank you. I know that you'll have very comprehensive policies that acknowledge all of that. And so I really appreciate that. And I look forward to seeing what those look like. The last thing that I'll just say is that when we put affordable housing in districts or in areas that are not rich in resources, we are perpetuating that cycle for that new group of folks who are going to reside there. And so the last piece is just making sure that we break that kind of investment into the areas. I know I'm asking for a lot, Reagan, but that's, if we look at the long vision, that's what I would love to see for our city. I'm sure that
you're asking for all the right things. So we're currently working on an affordable housing siting policy. We've been doing some community and stakeholder outreach and getting a lot of feedback. So we will be to council pretty soon with a recommendation on a siting policy.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Reagan. And Councilmember Esparza.
Sorry. Yes, I actually was going to make those same remarks, and I did see it acknowledged in the memo, so I won't repeat what Councilmember Arenas so eloquently just said. What I will ask though is, are we looking at the work that ABAG and MTC are doing? There's a shift in thinking around putting, affordable housing or other things, affordable housing in high resource areas. I think it's a huge deal. For the first time, government locally is starting to realize that. And I recognize that we need to lift communities up and work on that every single day. And that's what was behind the big equity, why 5 of us brought equity in 2019, because we do need an equitable approach on the city's entire budget. So until we lift those parts of the city, are we using the ABAG and MTC work around looking at high resource areas? And so I just wanted to hear a little bit more about that.
We are using that work. I don't know if Kristen, if you want to comment any more on.
Yes. Hi, council member. Kristen Clements with the Housing Department. I know that we've worked with planning and especially the long range planning group within PBCE, commenting on Plan Bay area and the infusion of equity into that work, which is really important and quite different this time. And so, yes, and actually through the upcoming housing element cycle, this assessment of fair housing work is really important because it is going to inform our next housing element cycle. And to the extent that we are thinking really carefully about where you should be putting housing from a race and equity perspective, that is new. And it is now embedded in state law. And so this AFH work and its findings and the strategies that emanate from that, we will be embedding some of that into the next housing element cycle as work plan items that we need to work on over the following 8 or 9 years. And so that is very much the frame. And it's one of the reasons that we did this formal assessment of fair housing process, because the state is telling us that we need to through state law. And also we're happy to see the region is very much in parallel with that work as well.
Thank you. And that plan, it should be noted, is a compromise. There was an effort amongst many cities to create an even more equitable plan, which I know my fellow San Joseans on the ABAG would have liked to approve, but it was really kind of a binary choice on going backwards, or to choosing this the plan that we're on. And thank you to Councilmember Arenas for bringing up San Jose Unified. I'm actually a graduate of San Jose Unified, and that district fought segregation for 20 years here in San Jose. Which is a shameful,
why we have so many districts in San Jose. And so I think we're all learning from the history, and we're happy to capture some of that, the reasons of why we got to where we are in the study. This is a very good place to capture that.
Thank you. And lastly, I just want to remind, because I don't want to have it lost, that there's still corporal punishment happening in our school systems. As I have mentioned previously, in Florida, there was a principal who was captured on videotape paddling a 6-year-old with a force that shouldn't be used on no one, especially one that's so little. And that state attorney has deemed that act which they will not file any criminal charges. And so what does that say to the brown and Black community, not only in Florida, but across the United States? And that is that we are deemed to be disciplined this way, and to be conditioned to then line up for interactions with authority this way. And it is very disheartening. It's very disheartening. I know that we all have some stories to tell in terms of racial segregation, and here in San Jose, we are not free of it. Certainly, maybe not to the level that Florida is still continuing to see, but it's painful because those images and those stories continue to be seen by our community and impacted by our community. So I'm glad that you're all making sure that we reflect our story accurately and respectfully, and I really appreciate that, Reagan and Kristen, and thank you so much for this report. We look forward to seeing it as it continues to evolve. Like you said, this is not the end, it's certainly not the end, but I appreciate where it's at the moment. So thank you.
And I move approval and to refer it to the June 8th council meeting.
Thank you. Can we get a vote?
Second.
Thank you. And can we get the vote?
Jimenez,
Yes.
Cohen, Esparza,
Yes.
Carrasco,
Yes.
Arenas.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so this leads us to open forum. And I'm going to take a look at our public. And we have calling user 1. If you could please unmute yourself and begin public comment. So this means any item that was not on the NSC agenda.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, I got some ideas on how to save money in the budget. Get rid of code enforcement. They like to come around neighborhoods where I live and give people fat fines for sheds that have been in their backyard for 50 years. So you want to have housing for free for everybody or subsidized. I hope they're going to have to follow the same rules that the homeowners have to follow, with high property taxes, fees, fines. Had a guy in my neighborhood, he had a flagpole in his front yard, had it there for 50 years. It was an inch too high. Thanks to code enforcement, had to take it down. Fine $250 a day if you didn't take it down. And they put you under a lot of pressure to do that. So I want you guys to realize that what I heard today was a lot of programs for people who are in need, and that's fine. I get it. But what about the people who follow the rules, who pay a lot of money to live here in property taxes and fees and all the taxes on your phone and your utilities and everything? What do we get? What do we get from you guys? Zero. We get a
Thank you so much. And now we're going to move on to our next, Mr. Beekman.
Hi, Blair Beekman. Thanks for the meeting today. Thank you very much for the previous words of Councilperson Esparza. It's nice to know the future plans of mixed income ideas. Thank you. To a few other items of the meeting today. There are youth programs for union apprenticeship jobs that I thought I should mention at this time. And that I think we have to be cautious in how we continue this summer through this age of COVID, and that hopefully cautious practices this summer can allow ourselves a good fall. And with 20 seconds, to mention the mixed income ideas, that she said, Reagan said, we're like 8 or 9 years away. It's what we practice now is what I'm trying to say. Our good practices now, we may not accomplish everything now, but we can really set good standards now and be ready for 2025 and onward. That's when we can really build a good future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Beekman. That brings our meeting to an end. Thank you all for joining us and for hanging in there. And thank you for all the presenters for being so concise. And we'll see you next month. Thank you.